40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind.
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
To sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40 years of Two Rivers Ford.
.601. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. The Braves defeated the Reds yesterday 7-6. Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies each homered for Atlanta, who are now 8-4 on the season. They've won 2 in a row after they had lost 3 straight. The Winnipeg Jets beat the Minnesota Wild 3-1. Why is that important to you? Well, the Jets clinched the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. That means the Nashville Predators are missing the playoffs for the first time since the 2013-2014 season. And the Titans have officially announced their new deal with Jeffery Simmons. Big Jeff will meet with the media at noon today from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear it on the Buck Rising Show here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5. The Zone.
Happy Wednesday in Music City and beyond, and welcome to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. It's a great morning to have a great morning with 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. Hey. Our broadcast journalist veteran whose J is always capitalized.
Whoa.
Don't you ever put
with
a dot
authority, Will.
over Kayla Anderson's introduction. And the best producer in the world, Jonathan Aloysius Schaefer, making the show happen.
The best producer in the world!
My name is Will Bowling. Today is Wednesday, April the 12th. How are we?
Good.
We're good. It's Wednesday. Hump day.
Hump
It's
day.
Wednesday, my dudes.
My dudes.
My dude.
Y'all never saw that video?
No, but I got that sound.
Please explain it to me.
So it's a guy doing a mirror selfie in a full Spider-Man outfit. And he goes, It is Wednesday, my dudes. And then he makes that noise.
I have seen that.
Yeah, thank you.
I have seen
I
that.
hadn't seen that one. I missed that one.
It is clean if you would like to play it, Jonathan Schaefer. That way I'm not a complete idiot. But it is a really, it is a video with which.
I can use that too. I'm not a complete idiot. 603. Today's so great.
Just be quiet, Mom.
We're already starting the
I decided
day
I
off.
would make your day a little bit better this morning.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm
The
here for
sun's
you.
not even up yet.
Here for you.
Not.
Oh, we're getting there.
Y'all excited about the weather warming up a little bit? Y'all there yet?
Well-
My mood is so much better because of it.
I know, but I get scared because, because weather has changed in Middle Tennessee. Certainly, in the last 10 years. I've been here the last 7 years almost. But it's now getting to the point where there's not a lot of spring at all. So I'm like, okay, so how many days are we really going to get of this 70-degree weather before all of a sudden we wake up one day and it's 80 degrees and humid out?
Somebody warming up the oven currently right now, Kayla.
I'm serious.
Yeah, I think the rest of this week and most of next week, we're in spring weather feelings right now. That's what I would call it. It's beautiful right now.
Yeah, it's spring.
But
It's
she's
3
right
weeks of
though.
spring.
The weather will just smack you across the back of the head. It's like, hey man, I wasn't ready for you to be this hot yet.
That's why we keep telling you about Spring Hill, because
Yeah.
it's like you got to get those coolers going.
Better get it
My
done,
goodness,
Kayla.
you do not procrastinate when it comes to that kind of stuff.
You know what the kids say? No cap, no cap. Yesterday, I had to turn on the AC in the house. And I think it's because the sun's shining. Will's got this smirk on his face.
Ramon said, "How do you do, fellow kids?"
Yeah,
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
there it is. That was fairly close to the
I'm
original.
telling you, I take this prize out your voice.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
That is one of the, if not the most famous vines from that
Oh,
era,
really?
because that is the fabric with which this country was built.
I never
was the-
had Vine.
We were better when we had vines.
I never
I
had it.
never had
Vine
it
was-
either.
Vine was kids these days with their TikTok dances. Vine was
geez.
TikTok before TikTok, except there were none of these outlier videos of people just delivering speeches that take 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever. Because I think the longest a Vine could be was like 20 seconds.
Vine is smack in the middle of Will's generation because that's what
Okay.
they all did in college.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well,
I
not
missed-
yesterday.
really,
I
it was
missed
like
that.
middle school through college.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then Vine left in like 2016, I think is when Vine died.
Pour one out for Vine.
Was it because the Twitter said, hey, watch us do this? What
it
was
had
it?
nothing. I don't know.
IG?
They just, I'm not a social media business expert.
One of them did it, though. I do remember that being the conversation. Like, Vine's about to die out. I think because Instagram added video
So
to
it died on the Vine?
Yeah, it
There
died
we
on
go.
the Vine.
Well, we had MySpace, so
Tell them, Kayla.
MySpace.
We were coding and didn't even know it at the time.
we could pick our favorite top 5 songs.
Yeah. Our top 6 people.
Yeah.
Have music playing when you
ranking
visit our
people?
profile.
Oh, yeah.
gotta be
profile.
racist.
Oh, yeah. You were ranking people.
Well, let's not forget, Facebook's origins were basically ranking women on college campuses.
It was.
Let's not forget
Sure
that.
was.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
it's in the movie.
Oh,
I was going to say the movie, The Social
Yeah, it's in the
Network.
Social Network.
Never
That's a
seen
good
that.
movie, too.
Interesting. Yeah, that is a good movie.
Facebook was started over heartbreak.
I mean, I ain't saying that to be mean, Kayla. I'm just saying that's what
Oh,
happened.
I don't give a you know what.
Yeah.
Yes, I got that one too. Today's my birthday.
Is it
It's my
really?
birthday.
No,
It's
but
my bir-
everybody just keeps giving me
Oh.
these gifts this morning.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank you for reminding me. It's Kellyanne's birthday, my
Hey.
little
There
sis.
you go.
She's
I
the one
gotta
that got the
remember.
Vrabel interview, right?
Yeah, the one that got the
Love
Vrabel
it.
interview up at Ohio State. I got to reach out. I always forget. You guys' birthdays, I'm the worst with it. I got to
Same.
be reminded.
Same.
It is literally one of the only reasons why I have Facebook. Is for
Thank you.
birthdays. Yep.
Thank you, Shafe. Thank you. Because I go to that and I'll see like today's birthdays and I'll go, okay, whose birthday is it? Okay, all right, good. That's what I thought.
I mean, I don't sweat it. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's this person's birthday. I'll send them a text.
Yeah.
Well,
By
the
the way,
celebration period for Buck's birthday is probably already open.
it's all
oh, bottle service booked.
coming up soon.
Well, it's not that. It's just the fact that Buck takes his birthday more seriously than most girls turning 16 on their sweet 16.
Well, you know what the next birthday for Buck is. What number it is.
the big 3-0.
It's a big
He
old
about
number.
to be 30.
I
He's
thought
finally not going to be
40.
excited for the first time. He won't wear his crown to work that day.
Yeah, he will.
He has a crown.
I mean,
Caleb,
he's
that
that
wears.
self-absorbed. He'll
Well, he
do
has a
it.
crown.
He has
Yeah.
a crown that he
That's-
wears to work on his birthday.
I'm glad he's more obsessed with his birthday than I am.
and he'll
it's a
take
good bit,
vacation.
though.
No, he's like a 15-year-old girl on her quinceañera. Like that's like Buck on his birthday.
He's an Amish girl in Rumspringa.
I actually did see a girl walking around celebrating her
Quinceañera.
quinceañera in around my street the other day. So I guess that was top of mind.
Now that's pretty fun.
Quinceañera?
I've been a quinceañera.
What did you
trying to say that again, Ramon?
Yeah, Ramon.
Quinceañera, I can say that.
Okay, there you
Quinceañera, yeah. Quinceañera.
Close.
No, screw you, Will. Quinceañera. That's how I'm gonna say it, okay?
Quinceañera.
Quinceañera. It's your 15th birthday, okay? Shay, what did you say they celebrate?
I said he celebrates more than an Amish girl in Rumspringa.
All I want to do is in a boom, 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 and a zoom, zoom. Just shake it up.
So if should we have people like it? say, ask Buck if he's celebrating his 40th yet or something.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Like
that
if
would
you're
be
listening right now on
awesome.
Twitter, just tell Buck happy 40th.
40th, yeah.
Yeah. It's actually funny. Grant Ramey, and who's coming on with us at 8:20 this morning, they did this at one point to Wes Rucker on the Tennessee beat.
Oh, yeah.
Longtime writer for Go Vols 247. And every time it's his birthday, they'll tweet. They're like, "Oh, happy 40th," and he's like, wasn't actually 40 yet.
Not 40 yet.
Oops.
Became a bit.
You know,
I'm 40. I'm a man.
Vine died because they did not pay their influencers very well.
Well, there you go.
well, there
Apparently,
it is.
the story, according to a quick cursory Google search on yahoo.com, of why did Vine shut down?
Wow.
So TikTok, I guess, is paying on time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're paying.
They're paying.
They're paying in the streets. There's some, the people like my age that are making just hundreds of thousands of dollars on
Yeah.
TikTok, I don't know.
Big business, man.
I hate it.
That's one app I don't have. That one is Snap. I don't
No.
have.
Hate it here.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not with the times.
I
got Instagram.
I would
Twitter.
be on. I know Instagram and Twitter take enough of my time, and Reddit.
Too much.
Reddit, by the way, you can just centrally look for what you're looking at.
What the
That's
heck
all.
is that?
I can
Reddit,
see Ramon
news
just
articles. I
scrolling
mean,
Reddit
okay.
late
I know.
night
because I can look
at a
at.
baseball game.
I know,
I
right?
can look at what I only want to look at. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to see a premature celebration thread, I can see that one. You know what I'm
Travis
saying?
has Flipboard, which
Yeah.
he really likes.
What
'cause
the
he can
hell
just
is
get,
that?
It's like
Never heard
the anything news like
Yeah.
of the day or entertain. Like it's all on just this little app that you just flip it, and it's
Yeah.
just story after story. He'll show me some crazy stuff sometimes too, and I'll be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I should get that app.
That's how I am with Keisha about Reddit. I'd be like, well, look at this. I follow like the Titans Reddit page just to. It's.
I didn't even know.
I'm
That is
telling
where-
you can get away from the madness.
Okay.
But
I got to be careful with the Reddit because it can go down quite the rabbit hole.
well, yeah, I
depending
can do
upon
that
where
too
you're at.
now. But of course, if you're not trying to focus in on it, it won't show up. That's my thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with this one.
That's just where you go to find like games that are blacked out,
Do you really
like
get it on Reddit
streams
too?
on Reddit.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I'll drop you a link when we get
Well,
a break.
you have a whole lot of illegal activity going on from time to time. You do.
Did you burn DVDs?
Hell yeah, he did.
No,
oh
no,
my
I
god.
didn't say anything was illegal.
Well, no, you didn't. Allegedly,
surprise
I
out your
thought
voice.
Yeah,
that.
come on.
You burned CDs, Kayla? I know you did.
Wait, I don't have the time for that. I'll just take somebody else's.
I hated people like you. Oh,
I don't have time for that.
Because
I'm
I-
always working on something.
I'd have all my CDs ready to go, and I'm like, "Where's it at? Where's it at?" I look up. Oh yeah, I grabbed that one about 2
Yep.
What's
weeks
a
ago.
CD?
Sounds about right. Yeah, we're not. Zip it.
Mike on Twitter says, "Happy 40th birthday at Buck Rising."
Yes!
Thank you so much,
Yes!
Mike.
Please attack Buck on Twitter right now. Please attack Buck.
Say if you want to celebrate your birthday 2 months in advance, then we're going to go ahead and help you celebrate 10 years in
All
advance.
right, with what Kayla said, hey, for legal purposes, don't attack.
Well, not yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would really
But
hate
now,
it
But-
if people did this.
But wait, quote marks in the air. Can you do the quote marks for me for the video, Will?
Please.
Have
Yeah.
a good time.
Yeah.
With it.
I would really hate it
Tell
if
it how it
people
is.
did that and wished him a
Yeah,
happy
so
40th birthday.
Oh,
that would suck.
You know what? It would be awful if people got on social media and wished Buck a happy 40th birthday.
Like, I'm not going to do that because I'm a nice person and, like, I am not, but I would hate it if other people did. That'd be terrible.
It would just be the worst.
You know what I've noticed? In our 6 o'clock hour, we are some crap starters.
You know what?
hear me?
It's a tough
I know.
morning
We
for
are.
those
It
who,
really-
who originally said I was not fun enough on this show. Really tough morning for those haters and losers who I hope are awake. Anyway.
Look at that.
See, we are some crap starters.
Coming
I
out
started
with fire breath.
We are. I'm here for it though.
Let's go quickly to
Get up
Cornbread.
with us.
615-737-1045. Good morning, Cornbread.
What's up, Cornbread?
Morning, Kayla, Jonathan, and Moan. Y'all talking about having
Hello?
TikTok and all that, Snapchat and stuff in y'all's generations? I'm old school. We had Atari and we had Speak and Spell.
I love Atari.
I played the Atari though before.
I played Atari too. What are we doing?
Did he leave somebody out on that
Cornbread
intro?
is one of the haters and losers. No, Will's not fun enough. He just wants to talk sports. Oh, this is what everybody's voice sounds like who criticizes me. 620 Ben Troupe, Tyler Dunne at 720 an hour 2. Grant Ramey talks Tennessee's spring practice and orange and white game.
Ramon's broken.
Rhett
know.
Bryan at 9 a.m. We'll
He's
try to
done.
put the pieces of Ramon Foster back together next.
See you guys.
Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Are you having difficulty hearing conversation around the dinner table? Maybe you're out at your favorite sports bar, or even right now, is the volume of that radio or tablet turned up to the 20s, the 30s, if you got numbers on your volume? Well, I want to introduce you to the good folks at Brentwood Hearing Center. And some of the early signs of hearing loss are asking friends or work associates to repeat themselves. You're turning up the volume to uncomfortable levels for the people around you, and maybe you're just not understanding the voice of your significant other when you're out at dinner at a crowded restaurant. Well, making sure you hear correctly is key to your quality of life, and Brentwood Hearing Center has a convenient location just off of I-65 in Brentwood. They'll tailor a hearing solution to meet your specific needs, so give them a call at 615-377-0420 or check them out online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. They've got 5 doctors of audiology ready to meet your specific need at 615-377-0420, online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Wednesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors as we continue hour one with a man who is petitioning for the Titans to take a quarterback, and one specifically. We had a good conversation with former Titans tight end and former Florida Gator. Notice I said the order right that time.
You did.
Thank you.
Ben Troupe on the show, and he is in the camp of drafting Anthony Richardson.
Oh, he's all in, baby.
He is.
He is flying the flag for AR coming to Nashville.
I know. That's interesting to hear him kind of go down that road, man.
Mm-hmm.
So between that and the one quarterback he feels is being disrespected the most in the process, who we will introduce first as a Tennessee Volunteer, here is Ben Troupe on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Well, Ben, the Florida Gators have been on our mind with the Anthony Richardson of the Tennessee Titans discussions that have really heated up over the past couple of weeks. Just what's your reaction to the Titans being linked to that guy, and how good of a fit do you think it would be?
I mean, obviously, I love the opportunity for this young man. I think a guy like Rand Carthon got to make a splash. I mean, I think this being his first draft, it's all about the quarterbacks. No matter what we got as far as like skill position guys. But I definitely think he's a fit because of what he brings to an offense. I mean, when you look at everybody wants a Pat Mahomes, I get it. But Josh Allen's of the world, and you're talking about the Jalen Hurts of the world, guys that not just can throw the football, but are extensions of the run game. Now, he's going to have to protect himself. I know he's 6'4", 244, but he's still a quarterback, and guys want nothing more than to beat up on him when he does tuck the ball and run. But I think that when you look at what these offenses, I think that's the Jalen Hurts effect. No one saw the Philadelphia Eagles doing what they did with a guy like Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position. But you look at what him having a run game, obviously a number one receiver, and a very, very good defense. I mean, I like the fact that he's linked to them Titans, man. I mean, obviously, I want the Titans to get the best pick possible. I am very biased when it comes to a guy like Anthony Richardson. I mean, no pun intended, but I do think he's going to be a good fit. It's going to be a project, no doubt about it. But as far as like the upside of what he could become, I definitely think he's worth the pick.
And Ben, it's interesting because you mentioned the Eagles and the way they built an entire offense around Jalen Hurts. Like, is it possible for a team to use Anthony Richardson's legs and go to more of an RPO style like you're in Tennessee and use that element of his game as the cornerstone of an offense?
Absolutely. I mean, going back to my time with the Titans, that's what they tried. That's what Norm Child was trying to do, with a guy like Vince Young, because you want to utilize what he does best first. Like the thing about the National Football League when it comes to quarterbacking, utilize what he does first before you try to start giving him some different tools. And it works. Listen, every team does this. I know everybody loves Patrick Mahomes. You don't think they utilize all these different shifts and he's giving them all these different players to utilize what he does best. Josh Allen and so on and so forth. The goal is to build an offense around the quarterback, not the quarterback around the offense, because it makes life better. And I think those other 10 guys will buy in.
Ben, when it comes down to this quarterback position, man, I think everybody considers 1 and 2, who Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, but Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, man, and Hendon Hooker are in a pot with each other. How do you view this group of 3 and how they're really, perceived to us and also to NFL GMs?
If we're really being honest, I do. I mean, and no shade involved. I think Hendon Hooker is probably number 3. If you look at everything and what he's done, everybody else benefited from their offenses. Why shouldn't Hendon Hooker benefit from what he did in that Tennessee offense? Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm biased when it comes to a guy like Anthony Richardson. Now, Will Levis is a head scratcher. I do know he's gonna go high, but when analysts start saying things like "Don't worry about the turnovers," no, that's a problem, because if you turn the ball over in college and these defenses are not nowhere near as advanced as these defenses are going to be in the NFL, that's going to be a problem for me. But I don't like the disrespect that Hendon Hooker is getting. This guy's not being talked about as being a top-tier quarterback, and he is. He should have. Listen, he's not going to win the Heisman. He should have been in New York. I don't understand when you look at what he was able to do for a Tennessee offense. So Hendon Hooker, to me, if all things good, I think he's number 3. But I think the thing about a guy like Anthony Richardson, he's so athletic and so gifted. I think you might put him at 3 or 4. And obviously Will Levis, he's the hype train. Every year you're gonna have a quarterback that's gonna have that hype train around him, and there's nothing we can do about it. Not mad at Will Levis, but the same thing that Mel Kiper and Ty Mache telling people to look past stuff will be the same reason why you find yourself in a Zach Wilson type situation up there in New York.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. So let's go for a guy like Anthony Richardson. I think Dane Brugler's Beast article came out today, and they said he could go like 11th or 13th. If he does go, or if he goes to Seattle, is it necessary for him to stay behind a guy for a year or two, or is he a day one starter?
No, I think it's very necessary. I think that when you look at some of the best players in the National Football League at the quarterback position, all of them kind of waited. Like Patrick Mahomes waited. I mean, you talk about a guy, in Josh Allen who they want to throw him in early. If you throw a guy in early, that means you don't have a valuable a veteran for him to learn behind. Geno Smith is a great guy to learn behind because they didn't just give it to him. Coming out of West Virginia, going to the Jets, it wasn't the right fit. I always tell people when it comes to the quarterback position, a lot of his success has to do with where he went, not his talent level. Geno Smith, everybody thought Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos, don't make the playoffs. Geno Smith and company do make the playoffs. Geno is a Pro Bowl. They signed his contract extension. I think if a guy like Anthony Richardson goes to a place like Seattle, I think he would love to sit behind a guy like Geno because you're making your money, but just because I'm good enough to play doesn't mean I'm ready to play. I do think he's going to be a year project.
Yeah, no, that's where the landing spot I think he would fit best. I'm biased because I'm a Seahawks fan, so whatever. So when it comes to Will Levis, let's get back to Will Levis. He's supposed to make a visit to Tennessee today. And you're talking about all this hype. I feel like the hype is coming from these analysts or these draft predictors, but the hype's not coming from any of the fans because the fans don't want him here. Why is he getting this hype when he was so inconsistent last year?
Because I think there's certain players that every year they just hone in on when you talk about the national media, and they're going to say his name so much that by the time he gets drafted, it's almost like the hype validates where he wins. And I'm not mad at Will Levis. Make no mistake about it. I want every single player to go as high as they're going to go. But, Ramon, you know this. Look, you can't look past stuff in football and say, oh, that's going to be all right. No. Those are the things that defenses are going to be able to take full advantage of because the hardest thing to get past is what I naturally am. Yep. Will Levis is a guy that trusts his arm. And he should. Will Levis is a guy that takes chances. Will Levis is a guy that since, the day is up, old boy coming out of, I can't even think of his name right now, coming out of Kentucky that went second overall. They want to get a big-time quarterback at Tennessee. But this is the thing about Tennessee. Tennessee, to me, is real similar to a Pittsburgh, real similar to a New England. You have to be built a certain way to play for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And that's no shade to the other teams in the National Football League. When you talk about a guy like Mike Vrabel, do he seem like a guy that mince words? Do he seem like a guy that's going to want a guy that's not going to want to do it? I was this time last year in the preseason, right? I'm looking at Malik Willis, and they told him not to run, and he ran, and they took him out in the preseason because they said, Malik, that defense set it up for you to run. I want you to do what I asked you to do because I'm trying to make sure you have a long career and not be trying to make it through. Listen, Baker Mayfield has been on 3 or 4 teams already, and he's only in his 5th year. That's the National Football League. He's scratching and clawing to have a career when he was supposed to be with Deshaun Watson is for the Cleveland Browns right now. Whoever the Titans get, I'm obviously gonna have to fall in love with because they are my Titans. But I will say, Rand Carthon, when that pick comes up, the whole world will be watching because him being a brand new GM, he's gonna, just like a brand new coach, you got to make a splash when it comes to these draft picks. And the only one that's going to get people out their seats is the quarterback position. I was there in 2006 when we drafted Vince Young, and the city was going crazy at the time. It's been a long time since the city had that buzz, but I do think he's going to have to pull the trigger on the quarterback because if you don't get one, and you pick somebody else, and one of them quarterbacks become a franchise QB going to the playoffs, that's what people are going to say, hey, man, you had a chance to get him.
Okay, so let's say they don't, and you stay at number 11. Are you okay with picking a wide receiver if it's Jackson Smith and Jigba, or would you say stay away?
No. You definitely got to give that offense some help. Okay. And the thing about a guy like Traylon Burks is, Traylon Burks is a guy to me that I think is built to be a number one, but he got to have a Robin.
Yes.
Because if he doesn't, it's going to be a long. Every great receiver in the NFL has a Robin to go with him. I mean, people can talk about Tyreek Hill. He got Jalen Waddle. People can talk about guys at other. I mean, you got to have a Robin. I love that kid out of Ohio State. Can't pronounce his last name, but he is a bad boy. I just think for this Titans team, You looking up at a Jacksonville Jaguars team that's got really, really good, really, really fast, and they're really, really young. You don't want them to get so far ahead of you that you scratching and clawing for a wild card. Your biggest enemy is down there in Jacksonville. Got to find a way to compete and beat them boys.
Yep.
Ben Troupe, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And Ben, you mentioned Ran Carthon needing to make a splash. Signing Jeffery Simmons to an extension definitely counts as a splash moving forward into the draft. Just what did you make of the number and the deal Ran was able to get with the biggest star this team might have on the entire roster right now?
I was so happy for Jeffrey, and I was so happy for Ran Carthon, because what happens is, right, when people seeing all these other guys getting their money early, and they think, okay, what's going on, Ran? Well, listen, man, we move at a different pace in Nashville. It's not that we trying to get things. You set up a contract for the present and the future, because. And the thing about Jeff, he's more than deserved, what he got. And I'm so happy they're keeping him around, because when I was with the Titans, they used to have a moniker of they want to keep guys until it's time to pay them. And that was a bad reputation going on, which I think they've more than alleviated for that now. I was so happy for Jeffrey, because the thing about it is players play the best when they're comfortable where they at. Yeah, they want their money, but I got drafted by Tennessee. For those who ain't never been to Nashville, man, it's a beautiful place to grow up and live. It got really, really good football and everything you want. I'm happy for Jeffrey, because he is the guy. Like, he is the guy for the Tennessee Titans right now. Taking nothing away from Derrick Henry, taking nothing away from Ryan Tannehill and company. He is the guy, and I'm so happy we had him back, because if we wouldn't have got him, he's staying in the AFC, probably in the AFC South, and he was going to terrorize the Titans for years to come. But I'm happy they got it done. Ran Carthon, he can do a side. He went home and told his wife named Heaven, right? He's like, girl, let me tell you something. I got something better today we can take the for sale sign out the yard, because the new Tennessee fans, it was a little rough on me. But that was the first thing. Now he got to do it with the draft. And Ramon, right, wrong, indifferent, man. Unfortunately for Rand, him being the first African American GM, the scrutiny is different.
Yeah.
And he understands that, but he gets this draft pick right, which I think he will, and he comes back in 2023, and they're in the playoffs, and I'm on the outside looking in. I think him and Vrabel had a nice first year together.
No doubt about it. We've been having this conversation back and forth. Vrabel said a good bit, not a lot, because he never does, right? But he talked about speed. He talked about the offense, guys staying healthy. But the speed aspect of what he said as of late has been the focus point for us, man. And when it comes down to this offense that got to run through Derrick, can they get away from the run first side of it and create, like really pave a way to be a speedy offense, or what?
I think they're going to have to for Derrick Henry's sake. I mean, Derrick Henry was for 2,000 yards, and people act like that just happened every single day. It really, really does. And he's the guy that everybody expects Derrick Henry to get it done in the regular season, and everybody expects him to be worn out by the time the playoffs come. For Derrick's sake, he needs to understand, look, man, you're going to be better with less touches. Because most guys, the bell cow running back it's foreign right now. You need a two-back system, and if that means Derrick Henry gets 20 touches instead of 30 touches, it's going to make it so that the offense is balanced. The offense has a new identity, and when you need him to break a big one, well, he's healthy compared to at week 17. I don't need you to be looking like it's week 17, week 18. So yeah, Derrick Henry understands that his best years are definitely behind him. He still has a lot of productive years ahead of him, but if he wants to be productive to where he's helping teams win games and not just own a team, I think they're going to have to switch up what they do with him, because he's a big body guy, and all that pounding, his body will let him down if they keep on at this pace.
So, Ben, between offensive line, wide receiver, and quarterback, which are you prioritizing with the first pick the Titans have?
You have to get a quarterback. Because the thing about the offensive line is you get an offensive lineman when you have your quarterback already. When you got your quarterback already, you go ahead and get the offensive lineman, because you know that's going to be the guy. You don't know who's going to be the guy. Ooh. So you got two or three guys on the roster right now. You always want to bring in a quarterback, because it makes the other quarterback nervous and it makes them play better. You got to have a guy in there to put pressure on the guys that's already in the building. You know how it is, Ramon, younger and cheaper. That's what the NFL, I want you to be young, I want you to be cheap, but I want you to put pressure on the guys that got M's next to their name. I'm talking about 10, 11, 12 M's a year, and I think it's going to make the competition better. I do think you get a quarterback, because Tennessee, to me, I think they are a quarterback away. Love Ryan Tannehill, right? Has given us some great years, but everybody wants a young quarterback under a rookie contract that's already, competing for Super Bowls. I mean, Jalen Hurts and these guys are so ahead of schedule. They putting pressures on the GMs of the world because guys don't develop that early. Guys ain't going to Super Bowls in year 2 and 3. So I think you get a quarterback because you can live with the result. Because if he doesn't play well, you can see the potential. But if you don't get him, every time Patrick Mahomes wins, people talk about who went before him. Every time he had a chance to get him, I think you get the quarterback and live with the result. It's an AFC South that's very, very winnable. You just got to find a way to beat them boys in Duval County.
So there's been Troupe advocating for the Titans to take a quarterback, something that is continuing to gain some steam, and Mel Kiper now joining that fray and having the Titans moving up to 3 to draft Anthony Richardson.
I'm surprised it wasn't Will Levis at 3 because he's been obsessed with Will Levis and everything Will Levis. So I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't put him instead of Anthony in that spot.
You know what? Ben said something that's held so true. I thought that we saw this shift happen in the SEC in the mid-2000s. He said having these young quarterbacks go to the Super Bowl in year 2 and year 3 is what's the push right now for that guy, even more so, I feel like.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking to myself, I think coaches in the SEC were fine. Like, Foreman was good mostly. Spurrier was fine. But Saban and Urban Meyer coming in had changed everything. Teams like, we got to switch. We got to get them out. We got to find a way to get into this BCS at the time or whatever it was. And I think now that rookie quarterback, seeing Burrow do it, Jalen Hurts do it, everybody's looking for the guys. Always copycat trends that go around. I think this is the one right now. Quarterback's always been up front. I feel like now they think these young, athletic, mobile quarterbacks can be the X factor more.
I don't know. I feel like there's a comeback of the veteran quarterbacks, too, with New Orleans going in on Derek Carr, the way the Titans did for Ryan Tannehill, the way that the Rams did for Matthew Stafford. There's just something to be said of once you get your guy, then you do everything else. And that, to me, is the deviation from what we would normally expect.
And I think everybody's willing to take a risk. Like, look, it's the National Football League. There is egos gone wild all over the place in every coaching staff in front office. Like, they always want to be the franchise that hits on whatever quarterback they get. And they don't grow on trees. Good ones just don't pop up on trees, right? I mean, you really have to kind of have everything work out, or just that guy is there in that draft, like a Trevor Lawrence. Otherwise, you got to kind of just take a chance on yourself sometimes.
Well, coming up next, the Vegas odds of where the Titans will pick and the quarterback they are most likely to select are interesting. They have the second best odds to draft one quarterback and the third best odds to draft another that we'll discuss coming up next. Plus the odds changing of the number 1 overall pick, which is an interesting development a couple of weeks out from draft time. That's coming up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Business owners, are you feeling stretched thin by the pressures of growing your business, keeping up with changing regulations, and staying HR compliant, hiring and retaining top talent, handling payroll? The list goes on. It's tough to maintain momentum and still keep your employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put over 35 years of HR service and technology to work to help you develop a people strategy that scales with you. What if your HR strategy included access to better benefits to help you keep the employees you have and attract new ones? What if it also offered training for your employees to increase their skills so they become more productive? There will always be challenges to face in business, and no matter where they come from, Insperity is ready to help you move past them by providing the HR solutions you need. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Wednesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Alongside Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. So the Vegas odds on where the Titans are going to go and who they're going to draft are becoming a bit more interesting. As of this morning, the Tennessee Titans have the second best odds to draft Anthony Richardson of any team in the NFL draft. The Indianapolis Colts are the favorite at plus 175.
Wow.
The Titans are second, just a little bit back at plus 200. That's not a big difference at all.
This is interesting.
To be drafted third, Anthony Richardson is the favorite at plus 100. Will Anderson, second most likely at plus 250. And as C.J. Stroud's stock starts to fall a little bit, he is the third most likely to be drafted third at plus 600. Because now Bryce Young has taken over as the favorite to be drafted number one again.
What happened with this? Because I've been hearing all these little things. Or is it just a matter of they like Bryce Young more?
I don't know if there was one specific thing that caused the market to move that dramatically.
Okay.
It just has moved back towards Bryce Young over time.
Yeah. I look at it as it's really breaking down who you really like and who we thought was the best. Last year, I think about last summer, right? We were talking about Bryce Young as the number one overall pick. It seems like we're getting back to that point right now. And I think that's just where teams are too. It's like you can sift this however you want and need to. To me, I think Bryce Young is the best player in it.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Bryce Young yesterday, right? In that Tennessee game specifically, when you guys were at the game, and I watched that game and, did not move from the screen.
Right.
And watching him in just times of turmoil and where he just didn't get shaken. Like he just didn't. And just the composure of him, he's all around a great quarterback. I think the only thing that was missing and that you kind of could pick apart was obviously the size. And maybe teams are just like, at this point, they can get past that after talking with him, after kind of doing some more testing, after seeing him in person.
Yeah. What's so interesting, too, is most of the phenomenal quarterbacks in this league, we don't even worry about their size. Heck, Lamar wasn't even that big coming out. He just bulked up last season. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Mahomes, we don't mention how his body looked. Like, that's the thing about it. Like,
how tall is Patrick, by the way?
Counterpoint is that none of the tiny quarterbacks have succeeded far enough to give us the platform to even talk about them, other than Drew Brees.
Right.
So all of those guys have been weeded out.
So what are you going for in this type of scenario? You want to go for a guy that's a playmaker or a guy that's...
Mahomes is 6'2", by the way.
I'm just saying as far as like body type. What I meant was like Levis. We're talking about how jacked he is. Nobody cares about how jacked you are.
About that.
Like all I care about is who's making plays at this point.
I get
the health side of it.
At the quarterback position, I want accuracy and durability.
Yep. And I want smarts. I want somebody who can pick up a playbook fast, who can make changes on the go. I want that natural quarterback ability up here too.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, you talk about, we don't really talk about the small guys. Well, we don't talk about Tua because he's never healthy.
Exactly.
And he's not accurate either when he is healthy. So
he had a good season when he played last year. But
he's fine.
What was Bryce hurt at, though, in Bama?
Where was what?
Where was he ever hurt at? He had 2-3 games.
We're not talking about that at that level.
He had a shoulder problem last year against Arkansas.
I'd compare it. I would compare it and be like, well, he mostly stayed healthy at Alabama.
In front of an offensive line that was better than every defensive line they played other than Georgia. They didn't even play Georgia.
We're talking about the NFL.
This is how he gets talked out of being the number one.
What, the offensive
pick.
line last year for Alabama was not good, at least by Alabama standards.
It wasn't good by Alabama standards, but it was still a bunch of 5 stars.
Would you take him?
Yeah, but it's always a bunch of 5 stars.
I'd take him.
You can't hold that against the kid at some point.
I would take him.
I'd take him, and I am worried about the size. Absolutely. But I'd take him. There's too many positives that outweigh that.
Yeah. Because what if he hits? That's what you got to deal with.
The Titans are the third most likely team to draft the other quarterback in that game, Hendon Hooker. The Vikings at plus 800 are the favorites. The Seahawks at plus 900 and the Titans at plus 1,000 to draft Hendon Hooker. So no overwhelming choice you're going to get. Obviously, outside of the top 5 or 6, that's where the overwhelming options kind of end. And then the Vegas market for the position of the Titans' first drafted player. Offensive line is still the favorite, but hanging on by a thread.
Right.
Plus 100. Quarterback second at plus 125, and then defensive line third
Whoa.
at plus 900. Wide receiver is plus 1,000.
So they don't think they're going there.
The Titans are like the
Smith and
sixth
Jigba.
most likely team to draft Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I think you can kind of throw that one out at this point.
You want to play wide receiver this year for the Titans?
I mean, I can get you 1 yard out route.
I'm in if you guys need me.
1 yard out route.
More than some of the guys they've had playing for them in that position a couple of years. Can you feel the punt?
I can't feel it. No, that's pressure I never want to feel right there.
I saw the list of like the current room right now, and it's just
It's
crazy.
empty.
It's crazy.
I'm surprised there was a list.
They had to
Dang,
dig deep.
Will.
They have like
But it's
four
facts.
wide receivers.
It's we're not even trying to be
I
facetious
know.
here. Like, it's facts.
It's just when I hear stuff like that, I was like, God dang, who bothered you today, Will? And you're right, though. It's like,
Nobody
it's
bothered
nothing. I know it's nothing, nobody bothered you. It's like, I'm surprised there was a list. You're right. But we've been saying it, though. That's why a wide receiver would make sense.
Well, coming up next, the meeting with the media today for Jeffery Simmons. What we expect to hear as he talks to the media as his contract becomes official yesterday. We'll reset the headlines coming up. We'll get to David on the phone line, 615-737-1045 if you want to join us on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. Secure Lawn is one of those companies, locally owned, family operated, that when you say their name, if you know, then you know. And that's because they have been doing really good business here in Middle Tennessee for a while. And right now, they're celebrating serving Middle Tennessee for 20 years, and lawns is what they do. And guess what? They are good at it. So if you need your trees trimmed, shrubs planted, you need to call somebody else for that, because all Secure Lawn do is grass. You understand me? If you need lawn fertilizer, weed control, you need to call Secure Lawn. And they don't make you sign any contracts. In fact, if you are ever unhappy with your service, they will do whatever they can to make it right. And if you're still unhappy, they will give you your money back on that last treatment. This is unheard of. Secure Lawn offer free service calls, and if you need something in between treatments, they will come back and treat it for free. Everything they use at Secure Lawn is pet, kid, and environmentally friendly, so you don't have to worry about dangerous chemicals hurting you or your family. They protect all types of grass and service residential, commercial, and even athletic fields. So get a head start on your yard and call Secure Lawn at 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
7:01, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Braves defeated the Reds 7-6 yesterday. Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies each homered for Atlanta.
Ozzie swinging it from the left side, and he hits one well to right field. Lots of force on this one. Hello, Chop House. A 2-run homer. And Ozzie ties the game here in the fourth inning.
Braves are now 8-4 on the season. They've won 2 in a row after losing 3 straight. The Winnipeg Jets beat the Minnesota Wild 3-1. Why is that important to you? Possibly. The Jets clinched the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. That means the Nashville Predators are missing the playoffs for the first time since the 2013-2014 season. Titans have officially announced their new deal with Jeffery Simmons. Big Jeff will meet with the media at noon today from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear it on the Buck Rising Show right here on The Zone. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home of the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 off and running on the Wednesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in 15 minutes, Tyler Dunne, our friend from GoLongTD.com, discusses the Titans draft and the importance of a big contract extension for a very big Jeff.
Thank you, Aaron Rodgers.
Alongside Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer.
The best producer in the world!
My name is Will Bowling. Happy Wednesday, and a day that, on a week of many spring games around college football, feels a lot like fall outside right now.
Ooh, I love that feeling.
Me too. We walked outside on the break, and it is beautiful outside. I told Will, and I said it again, you brought it up earlier, we're getting actual spring weather right now to ease us into the summertime. I'll take
it and enjoy it.
Ooh.
Find people of Middle Tennessee while you can.
Yes,
because if
please.
you just moved here and you don't really understand the weather here in Middle Tennessee, it will quickly shift.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, ugh.
It's funny you say that. I met some people last night, and they were from California. It's like, hey, you got spring. Yeah. It's nice. It was like the summer last year. I think they moved in last. It's like the summer last year wasn't that bad, and everybody at the table was like, it was like, oh, that was a mild summer.
Exactly.
Okay,
What,
was
the
like,
summer last year?
Yeah.
When it was 100 degrees for a month and a half?
Well, it hit that in August,
it was
though.
great.
It hit that in August, though. I thought.
Oh, how about Brent yesterday? Not Brent. Was it Brent? Yeah, it was Brent.
What?
Yesterday on 3HL was like, yeah, we didn't really get that bad of a winter this year. It was 0 degrees on Christmas Eve.
No. Aside from that one stretch,
Yeah.
it was a pretty mild winter.
It was a
but
mild
that's-
winter, I thought.
That's a,
You just hate the cold that
that
much.
was a
record
week.
low,
That was
though.
a week.
yeah, but that's a week
Yeah, that's
worse than
it.
what we ever get.
Oh, my
problem
goodness.
was
You're
0.
throwing out the entire winter because of the 1 week.
It was the coldest it has been in my lifetime in this
such a
city.
bee.
Well,
You're
that's not
such a
true.
bee.
No. I'm right. I have
No,
an opinion
you're
that
wrong.
I'm right.
No,
I would
you have an
love
opinion,
to
and
see
you're
Will
wrong.
live in Montana. I would love it. It would tickle my fancy. Now,
Random.
what I feel
Tickle
like
your
I'm
what?
British today. Maybe it's Ted
Hello.
Lasso. I've been catching up on Ted Lasso.
It's a good show, ain't it?
It's a very good show. That sounds like Australian.
God, no.
Stop.
Come on.
So
God,
can you guys agree with me on this though? I think the winter has been sporadic. That's the word I would use. It's been a head case because 1 minute it's this temperature, 1 minute it's that temperature, 1 minute it's raining. My allergies have been through the roof.
Oh, today,
Through
my
the roof.
allergies,
Right
y'all,
now.
because on the windshield yesterday was that yellow gunk of pollen.
Yes.
Oh.
Not great, Bob.
Okay, so we're all on the same page that we're
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
the allergies, right?
Everybody in our building's feeling it.
Okay.
Not me.
I've got this post-nasal thing.
What? I'm
Ramon, just because you have advanced care doesn't mean that you need to put us people
Ramon.
down.
Yeah.
Ramon?
Yeah.
Hey, Ramon?
Sleepy Ramon
Yeah.
Foster.
He puffed out his chest and said, "Not
Like
me."
that. Right?
Ramon does that little look around. Like, you know you're not looking at anybody. You'll just be like, huh.
He just prairie dogged it. Just
couldn't be
popped his
my
head up.
team.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
You look around.
Like,
Couldn't be your sinus system.
Couldn't be.
Couldn't be your.
Please
mucus.
say that, because then in 2 days it's
my
going to happen.
sinuses.
There we go.
I usually never
Mine
get it like
just
that.
came on this morning. I'm gonna have to drink some tea tonight. That's always the
course you
case,
are.
though.
You
Hot
just
tea like clears you out a little.
with honey, right?
Well, the best thing, I don't know, Kayla, if you ever did this. Hot toddies are the best
Oh, yeah.
to
I've
clear out your voice.
definitely.
It's tea, or honestly, really, it's just hot water, lemon juice, bourbon, and honey.
I had my first hot toddy last Thanksgiving when I was coming back from Victoria, BC. It was all right.
It's legit.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. I like lemon, too.
I wouldn't
so-
want that all the time, but
no,
it was good.
but it helps.
Yeah.
I
It does,
missed
yeah.
the show last year when I had bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh,
I drank like one a night, like a big one.
Yeah.
that was after LSU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we went from 80 degrees in the LSU stadium to 32 when we got back here.
He had the Cajun crud.
Every time we
oof.
get big temperature change, I'm always down for a day or two.
Yeah, when I
Not
had
like
COVID,
down that bad. But
I made it a sense to have hot toddies. They were phenomenal too.
Mm-hmm.
so good.
Yeah, they are good. But like Shafe said, you can only have them in spells though. You can't have it like go to a bar and give me some hot tea and mix in some bourbon for me if you don't mind.
I had a thing called a North Water last night
What is
that
that?
had some vodka and some lemon juice, and it was a blue drink. It was all right.
What were you
Whoa,
doing on
fancy.
Tuesday night?
No, dude, it was at
Shave.
it was at the burger place, literally two
The
blocks
burger
from
place,
my house.
He says they're serving up some fancy
Swanee
martinis.
Swanee Sweats down on the square in Gallatin. It was literally 2 blocks
Say
from
that
my
5
house.
times.
Fancy.
I'm not.
That's the
Swanee
blue
Sweats.
drink that is famous at every college bar.
I'd never had it. So I
Powerade
just was like,
vodka.
Oh,
why
you
not?
guys, that's
Yeah.
a trip.
It was fun.
Blue something.
My wife has a friend of hers, man, that had this blue drink, and I can't say the word that it actually is, but it's
Yeah.
a blue bleeper.
That's what I just said.
Is that it?
Yeah, the blue.
No, you said it mixed with Powerade. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that what it's mixed with?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah,
It's
this
like
was not
blue
mixed with Powerade.
and then the strongest possible white liquid that a bar can find.
Oof.
Yeah, it was
That's-
nowhere near.
That is the drink, and they're like $2 at like Sky Bar at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Like every college school has like the signature bar.
Dude,
Yeah.
I went there so much.
Rounders in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Sky Bar at Auburn. Cool Beans at Tennessee.
Yep.
Cool Beans is our signature
Cool
bar.
Beans is the signature bar at Tennessee, without a shadow of a doubt.
Sky Bar.
Now,
Rubber Duck had
RTs?
bottle service at Indiana.
Huh.
Not what?
RTs?
That doesn't exist anymore.
I know. I
Ours
just
was
had
the
them.
Coug.
The
Coug.
Coug?
Yes.
Okay.
Does Zach Wilson go there?
I mean, I might have met him once.
He might
back
have
in the
time. He might have time.
He's got plenty
now.
of time now.
Yeah,
He's
he
backing
does.
up Aaron Rodgers.
day. What the
allegedly.
heck is that guy gonna do?
Is it a
So
big
funny.
bar though? Is it like one of
No.
those?
It's like the Coug Cottage, technically, is what it's called. Now, Shakers is a little bit more of the dance floor.
Hardly know her.
Shakers was the place where you got your shake
Nice.
on.
Tweet us at Ramon Kayla Will. What was your college's signature bar?
Why are
And
you
if you
laughing,
went to
Ramon?
UT and you say anything other than Cool Beans, you're wrong.
He thought Coug
We're-
Cottage was funny.
Oh God,
Musical guess.
Cool Cottage.
that's where we would down Boone's farm.
Oh,
Context. I don't know what this. We are.
your sentences
That's got to
today.
be racist.
That's got to be
What?
racist.
That's the name of the wine.
I was just.
There's a okay.
Yeah, no,
That's the
I wasn't
name of
even
the
on
wine.
that.
Look it
yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah,
the
boy,
That is the name of the
No,
wine.
look up the wine.
The first time I drank wine, I was graduated from college.
It's not, but it's like a weird. It's
Like-
like very sweet.
Like I think the first time I
Yeah,
had wine
it
was
is,
like
it
a year or
is.
two ago.
But they were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's go to Goody
Pretty
on the
good.
phone line 615-737-1045. Good morning, Goody.
Well, I know you're not complaining about the weather. I know you're not complaining about the weather.
More complaining about the assertion that we
You-
didn't have a bad winter, which we did.
No, you didn't. You're so soft.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
Western New York only had like 2 or 3 storms that had a foot of snow, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really cold in Tennessee. Get over it.
It was 0 degrees. It was pretty
It
cold.
was 0 degrees.
It's 0. Put an extra hoodie on. Stop being so soft and get into work.
Get into work. Yep, there
Goodbye,
it is,
Goody.
Will.
I went outside. I went to that Titans game, and unlike many of my colleagues
Yeah,
who host
me.
a show from
Ramon
10 to
Schaefer.
1,
I'm colleague.
I sat outside at that game.
You did?
Yeah,
course
he
I
did. Yes, he did.
I had a
He did.
streak of like 3 straight years of going to Titans games, which then broke for the Orange Bowl, but that's okay. It's a good reason to break it.
You don't have sweet tickets here?
No.
Oh.
Why would I have sweet tickets?
You have no right of asking him that.
When have I ever had sweet tickets?
Stop.
That's
Just
never been a
stop.
thing.
I thought you did, bro. My bad, man. My bad, Will.
615-737-1045. Danny in the Borough up next. Good morning, Danny.
Yeah, it was really cold, guys. Quit giving Will so much grief.
Thanks.
It killed off my landscaping, and I'm not having that life down here. I moved south years and years back to get away from that Ohio nonsense. I'm not having it.
Fair.
Will, I'm with you. It's too damn cold.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, now you got me.
Danny, you need to call Dean Glasscock at Arbor Art Tree and Shrub. He'll get your stuff back on track.
A non-shameless plug, and that's why we had that capital J in front
right.
of your title there, Caleb. That's for sure.
There we go.
So real quick, Bryce Young is smaller than Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray's size is consistently a problem with him and his health in this league. Bryce Young shouldn't be the first overall pick for that reason alone. But to the Titans draft, if the Titans or Titans fans are seriously considering it being a good option for the Titans to trade up and draft Anthony Richardson, my question is this: why would you guys want 2 project quarterbacks riding the bench behind Tannehill right now? It just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. With all the cap space the Titans are going to have next year, it makes more sense to use what limited draft capital they have right now on premium picks like offensive line, wide receiver, and cornerback, because you don't have enough of any of those guys. And the QB class next year is superior to this one in every way.
We said this last year, Danny.
I'm 100%
Danny.
with Danny on everything he just said. I really am.
It's coming from a guy that's got his franchise quarterback already.
Well, good for him, but I agree with how he put it out and how he laid it out.
It's why I would absolutely rather trade back versus trade up with the position the Titans are in.
Real quickly, you keep mentioning these odds with Vegas in terms of the number 3 pick and all that. What's the draft capital? What are they giving up when you have multiple teams trying to get that number 3?
Ryan Tannehill? Kevin Byard? No, I'm not saying any of these are what's going to happen, but
Derrick Henry?
if the Titans move up to 3, I think they're giving up a player to do it.
It wouldn't be Tannehill, so it would be Byard if it's a player.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have a trade partner, Monty Austin-Ford, with the Arizona Cardinals, who knows a lot about
I think that's too convenient. I think that's too convenient of a narrative. You're not wrong, but I think it's just easy for people to just make those links and be like, "Hey, it's gonna happen." No, it's harder than that. It is.
I agree.
Is Byard gonna be here?
That's what
probably.
Probably.
I'm starting. I hate saying this because he is one of my favorite people, but I kind of think
I
he
think
could
if,
be gone.
I think if it's going to happen, it's a post June 1st.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I hope
we'll
not.
ask Tyler Dunne that coming up next. GoLongTD.com and ask if there is a quarterback worth moving up for in this draft. What in the world is going on with Aaron Rodgers? A weekly conversation with anyone. Tyler's especially good at that conversation. We'll talk about that and dive into the NFL headlines with one of our favorite guests, Tyler Dunne, coming up on the other side. Simone, Kalen, Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you are a business owner or facility manager, you've got a lot on your plate and a lot to keep up with. That can include assessing your equipment and systems, evaluating indoor air quality, outlining new cleaning procedures, or even reviewing options for implementing touchless plumbing, electrical fixtures as well. Well, that's a lot, and Lee Company can help you with all of it. They have been in the facility management and maintenance business for decades. Put their professional expertise to work for you today. HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, they do it all. So call Lee Company at 615-567-1000 or contact them online at leecompany.com. Whether it's your indoor air quality, your equipment and systems, cleaning procedures, touchless plumbing and electrical fixtures, Lee Company is always all you need. 615-567-1000. That's the number to call. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Whole crew here as we go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline and check in with our good friend, Tyler Dunne from GoLongTD.com. What's up, Tyler? How are you?
Good morning. Doing good. Just polishing off mock draft 19 point. No. I'm not doing one mock draft. Please, just send me out to pasture if I ever do one.
Right?
I just saw Jonathan Schaefer's head spin just a little bit, like a third of a full
No,
revolution.
we had a good conversation during the break about all that. So.
Perfect.
Okay.
I was telling John, what I've been doing on Twitter anyways is just I tease mock draft 1.0, 2.0, and then put my logo up, and then the link is just goes to a live Jim Croce performance. So
That's about as fair as you can get for people that are looking for the correct mock draft anyway. Like, nobody knows.
I get it that it's fun, and it gives you a sense for who could go where and maybe which players will trickle down to your favorite team's pick, but you're absolutely right, Ramon. Nobody has a freaking clue, and to pretend like you do, it's the purest form of NFL grifting. I mean, I guess kudos to people who make money off of this, off of mock drafts, but it's really grifting. Nobody knows.
Tyler Dunne, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So, Tyler, why do you feel like Bryce Young has maybe emerged as the favorite again to be the number one overall pick in many of those drafts, but just in general, Vegas now moving Bryce Young back to the top? But was there one thing that we missed over the past week that caused this shift?
It is so funny. I guess in the vein of what we're all kind of mocking here, and we're all guilty of it because there's 3-4 months of buildup. I mean, all of us think that these players are rising and falling, and we fall in love with Anthony Richardson. I mean, the guy's a freak. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he went number one. But I mean, these scouts, college scouts, pro scouts, coaches, I mean, they have a sense of these prospects way back January, February. It's not like they're just rising and falling based off of workouts and shorts. So I think it's kind of a market correction, right? It's like the stock where, it might seem like it's going up and down and all around, but this is probably what it was all along because Bryce Young was so damn good in college. I think the fact that he did it last year with that team, we always think Bama has these 5-star guys all over the place, and it's true, but he didn't really have the weapons at receiver and running back and tight end that even the quarterbacks before him, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, they put up those crazy numbers. So I think, we see the performance against LSU and Texas and Tennessee, whether they win or lost. It looked like a quarterback throwing the team on his back. So I know he's shorter and he's slight. There's maybe concerns about his frame, but the game has changed so much. I think you can kind of work around it, scheme around it, and if he can just play and do his thing, and he did it in the NFL's farm system that is the SEC, that's as sure a bet as you'll get out of anybody in this class.
So when it comes down to Bryce Young and all of these quarterbacks, we went from last summer Bryce is the number one overall quarterback to now there's so many question marks about him. Do you personally still take him if you need a quarterback like him? Do you look at his size or do you look at his playmaking ability when you're drafting a guy that could potentially have injuries because of his size?
I know, and the injury debate I go back and forth on because you look at him and he's not physically imposing at all. I mean, if you're going to block for this guy, you're in the huddle, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, like where's the rest of you after blocking for Ben Roethlisberger? Yeah. But I think it's just a different game. You can't really hit the quarterbacks like you could in the past. And I went back and looked at all of the season-ending injuries that the starting quarterbacks had the last couple of years because up here in Buffalo, they're, I think, foolishly trying to tell Josh Allen to slide more and step out of bounds and almost changing who he is. I mean, that's what makes him great. I think you just have to kind of enjoy it while it lasts. And whether it's Allen's elbow injury, Lamar Jackson's last two injuries, Kyler Murray was a non-contact ACL. Obviously, Tua's concussions, are routine plays. None of this stuff's outside of the pocket, right? I mean, These guys aren't getting hurt while they're running around. It's almost a myth. I get the argument that those hits do add up if you're going to be running a lot. But back to Bryce Young, he's not going to be running a lot. He's not somebody that's going to, have 15 carries a game. That will just kind of be the cherry on top if you even get it. He wants to beat you with his arm, and he knows how to set up those passing lanes with his size. I mean, he's been this size his whole life. So I think he kind of knows how to create within the pocket, similar to what one scout to Bob McGinn in his first draft story up at our site compared him to Russell Wilson. We were all concerned about Russell Wilson's size.
Mm-hmm.
At his best, I mean, not Russell now, but at his best, he just found a way to kind of maneuver and set up a window, and those passes just didn't get batted down.
Todd, there seems to be a problem in New York, or is going to be one, with Zach Wilson. They say he owned a cookie shop, and I'm sure he got the recipe from one of the sweet old ladies that he know.
Oh, God.
Okay. Wow.
You're all on Zach this morning. Back off.
Todd,
Back off.
That's fair, okay? With that being said, they're saying, of course, when he first got to New York, he bought into this franchise, seriously. But now they're looking like they're about to buy into another quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers. Are teams not learning from the Zach Wilson effect as far as going to get a guy that you don't necessarily think is the dude? Or is it just give me my quarterback? What do you make of him and the Jets right now?
In terms of Zach Wilson, he was fun to watch, and you could talk yourself into his improvisational ability. Is this Mahomes light? This guy, he's just creating and playmaking in ways outside the confines of the offense. And I get it, and I kind of liked it at the time, but I do remember talking to some people who were concerned about his leadership, and that, even at his pro day, it didn't really seem like he was with his teammates, kind of huddling up with guys. Did they say they liked him, but did they really love playing for him? I mean, there were absolutely red flags back then. I mean, to say that there were none is a little naive, I think. I think that there was enough smoke there. If you're going to take a quarterback second overall, instantly anoint him the starter. I mean, that was the other Jets' mistake. They didn't even really bring in a veteran and do the whole, you're our starter, we're going to bring – no, it was Zach Wilson's team. Instantly, you're the guy when you don't really know if he's that great of a leader, and it obviously spontaneously combusted in spectacular fashion. So, I mean, that's the whole other element here, and I think that's why you have to love – a Bryce Young. I mean, it seems like he checks every box. Guys love him. He's a leader. It sounds cliche, but that stuff absolutely matters at that position. And Zach Wilson, he did not have it. And now 2 years in, the Jets are scrambling for Aaron Rodgers, which, I mean, they're not going to draft a guy after Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson. So I get the veteran desperation. As you guys probably know, we always come back to Aaron Rodgers on this show. I obviously think this is probably going to blow up at some point, too.
So when it comes to quarterbacks and young quarterbacks and the draft, we've all touched, on how it kind of gets overblown this time of year. But the Titans have had 3 top 30 visits. Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, just yesterday, Will Levis reportedly. How much do you really buy into maybe that fact that they're bringing 3 in, that they really could possibly get that guy and trade up to 3?
It makes all the sense in the world, right? Obviously you have a quarterback that's taken to the playoffs. When he's healthy, if it's set up right around him, you can win with Ryan Tannehill. I mean, we've seen it. But I think he carries, a $36.5 million cap hit. He's in the last year of his contract. They're in I think, a great position here to draft a quarterback, because really more teams need to draft quarterbacks when they don't necessarily need one. I mean, there's teams at the top of the draft where it's like, I mean, the Colts, whoever they draft will be the guy, and same for the Texans and the Panthers, obviously. But if you are somehow within range, maybe they stay at 11. Hey, maybe they can even move up somehow and get one of these quarterbacks, and it's known that he doesn't have to play for a year. My gosh, it just makes the world of difference. And Jordan Love sat for 3 years, so it's a little to the extreme, but he's a completely different quarterback now than he was when they drafted him. He was not ready to play early on, but there's a benefit to waiting, to learning, to getting used to the speed. And I think the Titans, there's still some players there, so they want to compete now while still trying to rebuild for the future. just philosophically makes all the sense in the world for the Titans to draft a quarterback. But you have to like somebody. You have to love somebody.
Yeah.
And who do they love? I don't know, but they're doing their homework. And if they fall for one of these guys and he's somehow there at 11, or you try to work your way up, it's 100% the time to do it, I think.
We were looking at the odds this morning of the Titans, possibly taking a wide receiver, which I think a lot of people are on board here because I don't know if you've looked at that wide receiver room, but there's not anybody in it for the most part. It's very, very depleted. And you're like, where are they going to go get a guy if they haven't signed anybody in free agency? The draft isn't super deep. So do you take a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba at 11 if he's there?
Yeah, I mean, now people are saying that the NFL is cooling on these receivers, which is interesting because then that would be somewhat of a reach. So maybe you do try to move down, pick up a pick, and then get a receiver later on. But you're right. You look at their receiving core. They need talent. They need somebody in that room. I mean, Traylon Burks, he showed a lot at times late last season when he finally turned the corner. He could still be a stud. I like him a lot. But if you're going to take a receiver, you want to take him at a spot where you're getting value. I get it, but you hate getting caught up in need. But man, can you really get out of the first round without one? Like if they can't trade down, you might just have to take one right there if you like them and roll with it because it is such a need. Everybody down there saw this offense. There were times where, gosh, getting it across midfield was an odyssey. I mean, you just need dudes, threats, somebody that scares the defensive coordinator. And if somebody that you love is there, and even if it's maybe a little high to take that player, they should.
Tyler Dunne, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And Tyler, just from the procedural standpoint of bringing in quarterbacks for so many visits and then taking or not taking one, how often do teams interview every quarterback in the top 5 and then not take one of those top 5 just to try to have some kind of smoke screen, right? Because I understand we're in the season of lies in terms of you want things out there in order to help your own draft needs, but this seems like a big step to then interview every quarterback and not take one of them.
Yeah, it can go any direction, especially with where they're drafting. I mean, all of these quarterbacks might be gone, right? And it's like, oh, maybe they loved some of them and they would have taken one, but he just wasn't there. I kind of compare it to, the Buffalo Bills here in 2017. So my current podcast co-host, he was the assistant GM then, and I mean, they did their homework on everybody: Mahomes, Trubisky, Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Kaiser. They visited with everybody. They traveled the country, and their owner loved Patrick Mahomes. I mean, back to the previous October when nobody even knew who he was in the NFL world. And to his credit, to Terry Pagula's credit, he didn't go full Jerry Jones and tell them what to do. He wanted the GM and Modus, and then they just hired Sean McDermott, and McDermott didn't want to just start a rookie quarterback. He wanted to wait, which is fair. So they trade out of that pick, and the Chiefs take Mahomes, and they get Josh Allen the next year. But they did a ton of work then, even though they weren't really going to take one. So, yeah, I think it does help you just overall to have intel on all these quarterbacks, even if you're not going to draft one, because who knows what happens 1, 2, 3 years down the line. Maybe one of these quarterbacks doesn't work out with whoever drafts them. It presents an opportunity for you, and it's just the position is just way too important to blow it off or to kind of, half-ass it. I mean, you got to go all in and learn as much as you can about every quarterback in the NFL because it makes everything better. I mean, if the Bills didn't have Josh Allen, I mean, let's be real. Everybody's fired. Yeah. I mean, they're going through more coaches, more GMs, more quarterbacks. So I think every team should be doing exactly what the Titans are doing. It's only going to help you long term.
So, Tyler, where does Trey Lance fit in all of this? Because you mentioned Bryce Love and him, or Jordan Love, Lord, sitting back and waiting behind Aaron Rodgers. How does Trey Lance in a couple of years, closer down the road fit into this? Because there's rumors here still that, maybe the Titans are interested in him with Rand Carthon's San Francisco connection.
Exactly. And you wonder, does he like him? I mean, it could go both ways. Maybe he's been around him and is kind of thinking what maybe other coaches think there. And this isn't somebody that you want to completely go all in on, or maybe he loves him and he loves him in this scheme that they're trying to put in. He has the intimate knowledge of Trey Lance. That's everything we're talking about, right? If you want to know these guys, everything about these guys as much as you possibly can. They've got that information because of who their general manager is. It is an option that I think somebody's going to take advantage of because I think we can take the 49ers at their word. They've been very public. I mean, John Lynch, the GM, he came out and said, like, Brock Purdy, he'll be his job. I mean, that's how we're operating here. So if that's true, Kyle Shanahan kind of shifted back to, okay, I just really need a caretaker, might be a little strong, but somebody that's just going to run the play that I call. I don't need the freak of nature Mahomes, who beat me in the Super Bowl, Josh Allen, who embarrassed me on Monday Night Football. That's kind of what compelled them to give up everything for Trey Lance. But it seems like they've shifted back to, all right, just give me somebody who's going to run the play as called because I'm going to be able to devise everything I want to do because I'm Kyle Shanahan. So if that's true, why wouldn't you get something for Trey Lance and try to recoup some draft capital? I mean, it only makes sense. And they brought in Sam Darnold, right? So you've got a backup. You might what does it cost? I mean, somebody probably would give up a first-round pick, I would think. It's such a valuable position. Why wouldn't you? So that is absolutely. If the Titans go through this draft and they don't get a quarterback that they love, they take a receiver, and you still kind of want to get a young arm in there, somebody to build for the future, Trey Lance does make a lot of sense.
Tyler Dunne has been our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will at Ty Dunne. Dunne is where you can find him on Twitter. Tyler, great stuff, man. Thanks.
Hey, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyler.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ty.
Yes, sir. And something to think about coming up next on the Trey Lance discussion. And I think the timing that's interesting on maybe waiting if you don't get the guy that you want in the draft. Brent Doherty had a good point yesterday that I want to reset and bring up from yesterday's 3HL about, yes, the familiarity Rand has, but did Rand also learn from a mistake with what San Francisco did with Trey Lance a couple of years ago? We'll dive into that coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Old School Vapor. And you guys know, as a former professional athlete, I have aches and pains the same way as you do that I deal with almost every single day. But I've discovered Old School Vapor, and they are easily the most knowledgeable when it comes to helping me get some relief.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows about, the CBD world. And so they are there to help you.
Yes.
As soon as you walk in to one of their beautiful places, there's someone to greet and guide you, Ramon, in the right direction. And if you're a pet owner, you might not even know this, but they have things for your fur babies as well. Maybe they have separation anxiety. Maybe they travel with you a lot and need to just calm down a little bit. You can go to Old School Vapor Selection. They have over 200 legal CBD products. They've got all the brands like Looper, Torch, Hidden Hills, and much more.
No doubt, Kyle. That's so important. Get them to calm down just a little bit. You can specifically find something for you. You can check them out at almost anywhere. Instagram, they have a page there. You can Google them at Old School Vapor to find the nearest location. 4 of them, Kayla, around the city. They got them in Franklin, both ends of Spring Hill and Columbia. That's Old School Vapor. And these products contain nicotine, which is an addictive chemical. You must be 21 years older to purchase, and no sales to minors.
Wrapping up the first half of the show on the Wednesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Good conversation with Tyler Dunne from GoLongTD.com. If you missed it, check it out wherever you download podcasts on the 104.5 The Zone podcast page or on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or Stitcher, as all of our show always posted within 30 minutes of the show wrapping up. So listening to 3HL yesterday, I think Brent Doherty made a really good point about Trey Lance and just in general about the Titans moving up to 3 like the 49ers did. Because the 49ers gave up 3 firsts, including their 12th overall pick, to move up to 3 to draft Trey Lance. Oof. I think many people are linking the Titans to doing that, saying, oh, well, Rand has done it before. Also, you could make the argument that Rand might have learned from that mistake in the fact that Trey Lance hasn't been a starting caliber quarterback in this league. So I think by association, it's not unreasonable to suggest that Rand Carthon's evaluation of what Trey Lance is in the present has a big ripple effect on what the Titans do with their first-round pick. Because if Rand Carthon still believes that Trey Lance can be a franchise quarterback and a starting caliber quarterback in this league, then perhaps he still believes that that trade was worth it and that you could do it again here in Tennessee.
It's always risky, and that's why like the pressure to get that pick right, the first-round pick, especially the front half of the draft, it weighs so heavy. I'm sure they're double-dutching so much. They're back and forth on this. Do you get a quarterback? Do you get a wide receiver? But if you're getting a quarterback, like you can pick a bad wide receiver and move on past them. The quarterback is a real hard reset. And I think, like, looking at Trey Lance's situation, I kind of say to myself, like, I think he's good, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. A lot weighs on being a new GM here in Nashville, trying to figure out your future moving forward. Would I make that move? Probably not this year. After the first 2, I don't think it's risky enough to take that leap up in the top 10, Kayla.
So when you're looking at a top 30 visit, and look, everybody who goes on a top 30 visit isn't necessarily even taken by the team that's bringing them in, right? But I will say this. Rand has a chance to hit big if this does happen to, they trade up, they get the quarterback, and it works out. Or he could come in and be like, the safe bet is to take a tackle, right? To take an offensive tackle. Because you can't go wrong with that right now.
Cannot.
You really can't.
No.
But with those 3 guys coming in, the more and more I think about it, why not do your due diligence of just making sure you can't live without that quarterback?
Yeah.
We're going to bring those 3 guys in that we could possibly have a chance at getting. We're going to do everything we can to try to learn about them, to try to feel them out. And if we really can't live without them, maybe it's worth it.
Yeah.
But if there's any inkling that, too much of a risk, just doesn't fit, I think then you just can automatically be like, they're out. Because there's nothing more than seeing that person in person and to feel them out to get a real feel. Yeah. Now, there's more that goes into it with the play and everything. But I'm just saying that's the way to really get a good picture of it.
My thing is this, there's only one pick I think that's unforgivable, and nobody will understand development. Because if they're trash from the beginning, it's hard to imagine them being good on the latter part of their career, and that's the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. Most quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, you see it. Kyler Murray, you saw, okay, there's something there. That's the reason he got the deal, right? Yeah. Zach Wilson, out quick. You know what I'm saying? And I look and I still say your biggest insurance policy that not many teams have right now is Ryan Tannehill. Like Malik conversation. Like, think about him. He was supposed to come and just take over for Tannehill. How fast did that die off? I mean, they brought in another quarterback to try to get you into the playoffs because of it. And that's why I say, like, that first year jump for a rookie quarterback means the most. And it's unforgivable if you miss on it. Unless you go, and you can't do this 2 years in a row, go after first-round quarterbacks. You can't do that. That's the one position that you can't mess up on. So if I'm unsure or even hesitating a little bit, I pass on it because I got Ryan Tannehill.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather trade up for Anthony Richardson or trade for Trey Lance?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I'd much rather trade for Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
I agree. Cheaper, less risk, and you're still going to have your draft not totally shredded for the next 2 years.
Yep. And go ahead. I was just going to say, and on top of that, I still don't have to pick up his fifth-year option.
Well,
I get a 2-year trial is what I'm saying. By the time I give up my first-round picks on him, I'm back in the first round if he doesn't work out.
Right. And the cost is going to be significantly less capital-wise. However, you're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to pay him more than you would be paying a rookie quarterback on a rookie salary in 2023. In 2023, Trey Lance's cap hit is $9.3 million. In 2024, it's $10.8 million.
That's a bargain in today's NFL.
It is.
That still is.
It is, but not compared to the $6 million cap hit that you would get for a rookie if you want to draft one. I mean, that is a $4 million difference, and we've seen the Titans haggle over less by asking Kevin Byard to take a pay cut to save possibly $5 million.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a part of the conversation, although not the entire determining factor. But all this being said, if we're going to make the point that, Rand Carthon's evaluation of Trey Lance may dictate his willingness to move up to 3, why don't you just take Trey Lance? If you like him.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Trey Lance.
Yeah.
We don't know much about him. I still think we know more about him than we do Anthony Richardson as far as who has short-term potential or long-term potential even in the NFL.
Yeah. I think he's a better thrower, an equal athlete. Not the size, no, not the size at all, but definitely will. I look at that one and say, give me him instead of Anthony Richardson.
615-737-1045 is our number. We'll get to your phone calls coming up next. We will also take a look at the preview of a big spring game in Knoxville this upcoming weekend with Grant Ramey coming up at 8:20 discussing the orange and white game. There's one position battle going on in fall spring practice that was not even on my radar as something that was remotely interesting. But there's an underrated position battle happening in Knoxville right now. We'll get Grant's thoughts on that. And I'll tell you the one guy who's impressing me from everything I've read, who was so far from being a household name coming into this spring. We'll discuss that at halftime of the show. Coming up next on our Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
What do we talk about during the break sometimes? Well, we're not going to share all of that, but sometimes we do talk about life and, making smart investments, Ramon, and that is exactly what we're trying to tell the people out there. No better place to put your money right now than into your home. If your home is 20 years or older, Window Nation has the perfect offer for you. You can get 0% financing for 5 years, and you can check out more on windownation.com.
No doubt about it. Me and the wife, Kayla, were talking about, I was like, you know what, Keish, we can go ahead and we can renovate a little bit if you want to. We can modernize this house if you want to. And one of the things we can discuss is windows. And we can talk about Window Nation because that's all they do is windows. They're expert. They installed over 200,000 windows last year. That's 40 times more than the average installer, okay? And 96% of them require no follow-up service means you get your windows, they stay in your house, no leaks, no anything. Over 10,000 online positive reviews too, Kayla. We talked about it. I'm sure you're talking about the best way to get some money back is to reinvest into your own house.
You got to do it. Comprehensive lifetime warranties on the entire window, including the glass. And like we said, trusted by over 100,000 homeowners. Make the investment now.
Absolutely. In a hand. Pay nothing for 24 months. Plus, buy 2 windows and get 2 windows free on any style window from Window Nation. There's no limit. Save thousands on your new windows and your energy bills, all while upgrading the look of your home. Reach out to them at windownation.com or call them 866-90-NATION. And be sure to tell them that Ramon and Kayla sent you.
From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Atlanta Braves defeated the Cincinnati Reds 7-6 yesterday. Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies each homered for the Bravos.
3-1. That is jolted. Deep right center field and kiss that goodbye. 1-0 Braves on the homer by Olson.
That was a solo shot there for Olson. The Braves are now 8-4 on the season. They've won 2 in a row after losing 3 straight. The Winnipeg Jets beat the Minnesota Wild 3-1 yesterday. You're wondering, Shafe, why are you reporting that score? That's because the Jets clinched the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. That means the Nashville Predators are missing the playoffs for the first time since the 2013-2014 season. And the Titans have officially announced their new deal with Jeffery Simmons. Big Jeff will meet with the media at noon today from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear it on the Buck Rising Show here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
$8 a.m. hour off and running on a Wednesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, where it is a great morning to have a great morning. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen.
The best producer in the world.
My name is Will Bowling.
His name is Will Bowling.
You can't see me, but you can hear me. Unless you're watching on 104.5 The Zone TV, of course. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Join in on the conversation on the 104.5 The Zone YouTube chat. Hello to everyone watching today, this morning.
Yes.
Great to see you. Well, we can't see you. You can see us. So,
Yes.
hello.
Good morning, good people, man. We're back at it again. Second half, Kayla.
Back at it again with the white
Is it the
vans.
second half? I don't even know what day it is.
Second half of the show.
It's hump day.
Thank you. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Which we have indoctrinated into this show earlier this morning.
They need to bring back that commercial.
They do.
Period.
Period. That was good. Leave it.
Bring it back.
There you go.
Yeah.
The I don't know. I liked more the scoop. There it is. Salt and
Well,
pepper.
that was good too. They have a lot of good ones.
French vanilla, Rocky Road, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. So
The wife walked in staring.
Yeah.
My wife looks at me all.
We all look at you like that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true, Ramon. That's not just.
There it is. Have
Take my
it your
headphones
way.
off. Nope.
You rule.
Hopper.
Hardly knew her.
What is wrong with you, Jonathan?
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Jonathan? What?
I know. Jonathan.
It's so hilarious. People really don't like being called by their first name a lot of the time. It's like, what?
Well,
What'd
wait.
you call me?
What would people call you then?
Just Moan.
Oh, that's right.
When I hear Ramon,
But
I'm
they-
like, who the hell is that guy?
I usually am just Kayla, though.
You see
People
what I'm
don't
saying?
really use a nickname for me.
It doesn't bother me. I'm just not used to it.
See, it is. I think that's what people not used to your whole name.
Because I
being
like
said.
my name. Like at first, early in life, I didn't like my name, but like I'm a big fan. I didn't like being a Jonathan.
You didn't?
Really?
No, not till I was probably late teenager, but I'm a big fan. And then, you know what it was?
What?
In all seriousness, I saw it on a byline the first time I got paid to write in the local newspaper, 17 years old. I saw it there and went, yeah, that's right. That
You
works.
watched The Shining?
Y'all used to get news on
The Shining? used to get news on paper.
Used to get news on paper?
News on paper.
Like every day? Like what is.
That's good.
It's
Okay.
just it's just funny because a lot of, like you heard Brad Hopkins call me Jonathan the other day when he was on the show.
Jonathan.
So it's just, yeah, it's, you know.
Sometimes it just, the full name, I will actually call people by their full name. At weird times. I don't know if it becomes like a mom or sisterly thing with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, William.
Whoa.
William
I went by
Bowling.
bowling more than I did Will when I was in high school. Dawn calls me bowling. Dawn Davenport calls me bowling more than Will. That's what I was used to more in high school.
Did anyone call you the bull?
No.
The bowl. I'm here for it.
The bull.
I got W.
Called you the
Bull.
bully.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
I
You
was
say
a
the
bully in
bully.
high school.
You were a bully in high school. That's crazy. You got talked about like that when you were
Yeah, I
there.
really wasn't at all, but that's okay.
Crazy.
You know what we have on Saturday to watch, Ramon?
Oh, God.
What? No. What do we have?
We have that
I
on
do
Saturday
want to
watch.
punch someone when I hear that.
I love that so
my
much.
God.
I love it so.
I'm like,
You know what's so good about that? People either love it or hate it.
it's
I love it.
cut it off.
Love it.
All right,
Because you're going to hate us in August because
Right.
once we get into training camp,
Because-
it's like, we're one day closer.
Yeah, because Ramon,
Don't have me in
not
for
just
that whole
football,
segment.
but you know what kind of football? You know what school?
I dare you.
You know what color?
It's.
You know what color?
Oh, let me guess.
You know what color?
Let me guess.
Is it the Orange
I'm
Bowl
gonna
champions? We're back.
I'm excited too,
We're
man.
back.
No. The last dude said that the other UT they weren't back.
No,
Is
I just
what we
meant
found
football's
out.
back. Football's back.
What in the world was that?
Oh wait, this little puppet you have has a squeaker in it.
My gosh.
Ramon, if you're watching on 104.5 The Zone TV right now, Ramon has a puppet.
If you're
of
joining
Smokey
us,
on
we're
his
in
hand.
preschool. Time out. It's nap time
Oh,
here,
I'm here for
on
it.
Ramon,
Ramon-
Kayla, and Will.
Ramon has a squeak toy of Smokey on his hand.
All right.
Tickle me, Smokey.
He has a mind of his own.
Oh,
Hey,
I
Smokey.
thought it was a golf cover.
Hey, Smokey, did the team that you're the mascot of lose to Alabama or Florida last year? Hey, squeak if you beat Clemson last year in the Orange Bowl. Okay, thanks so much.
Squeak if you beat Florida, Smokey.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, if there was a quarterback in the SEC that people said was going to be a top 5 quarterback and you beat him this year too,
Yeah.
bark unlimited barks, okay?
Smokey, bark if you need some CBD right now from Old School Vapor to shut you up.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing coming out of his mouth.
Wait,
Hey,
one more. Can you bark if Alabama hasn't beaten you in a revenue sport this year? Okay, thanks so much. Really appreciate that.
I didn't know it had a squeaker.
That's incredible.
What is it a golf?
No, I think it's just a puppet.
It's a
Oh, it
puppet.
is
Not
just a
head cover.
puppet.
I have the head cover on my
Okay.
golf bag.
Yeah,
You could use it as that.
no idea there was a
Oh, that's terrible.
What are you
this is
doing
the
to its
best.
mouth,
No,
Ramon?
the squeaker came out.
Oh, God.
Phrasing.
Ramon, you're like a dog that kills the squeaker within
did
30 seconds
kill-
of getting a new toy. I'm sure Zeus has
Did
killed
you
his fair
break
share.
it?
Oh, my
I'm going to
gosh.
fix it.
Ramon, you
Ramon
broke
broke
it. You broke
puppet.
Smokey.
Oh, I did,
He's
man.
holding like this
That's a
huge
bad omen.
squeaky.
That's not a bad
Let me
omen.
see. Can I look at it?
Because the tongue
That's
is
a bad
supposed to come
omen.
out too.
Bad omen
Guess
for the
the-
season.
Guess
I
the
can find-
CBD worked.
I can find the hole here, Will. Give me 1 second, man, and put it back in
Okay.
here.
Phrasing.
You gotta chill, man.
What? I'm talking about the squeaker.
You're the worst.
What'd I do?
Anyway,
I'm
there's
about
a
to walk
position
out of this
battle.
building.
Did I do
There's
something?
there's a position battle going on in Knoxville that I did not expect to be a position battle. Squeaker.
Don't even know her.
Y'all talk about me at the show.
You're deflecting again.
No. Y'all both followed up with...
How did you break this puppet within 30 seconds of realizing that hey, it's back? We're back.
Okay.
We're back.
Let it talk!
That's like on key too.
That's one spot's went out again.
That's more on key than like half of the people that go to football games.
It keeps coming out of his mouth. That's crazy. All right,
Okay,
we'll get
put
to
it
that.
away.
Fantastic.
Playtime's over, kids. Playtime's over.
I don't know.
The burp.
Back to the shadows for Smokey.
Back to the shadows, Smokey.
Oh, that's gonna be a great prop for this show. We don't have as many props as other people do. Well, I guess you have the Bill Dance hat.
I do. Maybe I need to clean up our desk area too. Me and Savage sit here. I thought the Smokey golf hat was pretty cool.
The Smoky golf
Yeah,
hat's
I
great.
like the Smokey golf
This
hat.
is the best Buck Rising
Really
40th
good
birthday ever.
It is.
Yeah,
Happy birthday,
Happy
Buck.
birthday, Buck.
Happy 40th, Buck.
Happy 40th, my
How does it
dog.
feel to be 40, Buck?
I know.
I wouldn't know.
Let me know, man, because I didn't realize you was that close to 40, Buck. Happy
That's
birthday,
awesome.
my brother.
He's even wiser than I thought.
I mean, smart dude. I like Buck, man.
So running back is an underrated position battle going on in Knoxville right now.
Go to break.
You don't want a 40-year-old running back.
We're almost at break.
We are almost at break.
No, but I want to tee this up for Grant Ramey on the other side.
Yeah, tease it. So go ahead and do that. And then what I need you to do is
Go to break.
There has been a lot of discussion about Deshaun Bishop, the Carnes Beaver from Knoxville.
Oh,
what?
Excuse me?
What?
Carnes High School football is the
Okay.
Carnes Beavers.
Didn't know that.
We said this 2 weeks ago.
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. All right.
I did. Continue on.
A guy that was a Coastal Carolina commitment for most of his senior season.
Taking Kayla everything in her being to not laugh.
Beaver.
I can't
Tennessee
say what I want to
recruited
say.
him late
Thanks,
on in the
just out of
process
stuff.
last year, and now he's a guy that a lot of people are talking about in Knoxville.
Is he really? He was like a late signing.
He was the only
So you could say he's
December
breaking the dam.
surprise.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he's in a position battle right now. He, like, for real, he is?
He's earning reps.
Good for him.
Playing well.
Yeah.
Guy that rushed for 3,200 yards in 2021 alone.
Wow.
That's good.
And that's necessary, too, because legitimately, that was the biggest concern for us last year. It's like, who's going to run the ball? It's too many reps, enough reps. I mean, was it too many reps for our backs last year? So the more, the better at this point. Considering how fast that offense works, too, let's do it, Will. I'm here for it. Can't wait to hear Grant.
Before we go to break, Gary on Twitter says, this Smokey Squeak Toy segment is why I listen to you guys every day. Nothing like real professional sports talk radio. Not even close. Thank God.
What was that? Meow.
Oh, God.
Hey, you want to do that, Ramon? Ready?
Meow.
3, 2, 1.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Grant Ramey next.
I'm
104.5
out.
The Zone.
I know. Would it be nice to walk into a business, maybe even a studio, where you just know things are going to be trustworthy? I can trust my teammates here, man. Y'all are real good to me. But at Two Rivers Ford, you can. Two Rivers Ford is celebrating their 40th year as a local company in our community. And let me tell you something. You don't get to be 40 years old without doing business the right way. Right, Buck? Because I know Two Rivers Ford is your people too, man. But Two Rivers Ford always does business with integrity. You can get honest answers, zero pressure, and the best price possible. And Two Rivers Ford sells all their new non-specialty Fords below MSRP, so you know you're going to get the best price. And another important thing about Two Rivers Ford is that their salespeople don't work on commission, which means their only job is to find you the perfect vehicle. Trust me when I tell you, you can trust Two Rivers Ford. If you want verification, just look at their Google reviews or check out their A+ ratings from the Better Business Bureau, or look into the fact that they continue to win Ford's President's Awards for customer satisfaction. For a local dealership you can trust, just remember these 3 words: Two Rivers Ford. Powered by Ford, driven by people.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you.
Hey.
Whoop, there it is.
Come on.
There it is.
Scoop, there it is.
Can you imagine the TikToks that would have come off of this song back then?
Let's bring it back.
I try not to.
Will, can we do a TikTok after the show on your TikTok thing?
Pass.
Come on, man.
Viral, man.
And we go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline where Grant Ramey joins us.
Oh, that's so
Good morning, Grant. This is the energy you're walking into this morning, so welcome.
Yeah, I was going to say, y'all got so much energy, and here comes the energy vampire. Suck it all out. You've called the most boring man on the planet while y'all are talking about TikToks and all this stuff.
We didn't call Mike. We called you, Grant. What are you talking about?
Dang, Will.
He's been on it all day, Grant. Come with it, Grant. Come on, man.
Grant, I was introducing Ramon and Kayla, by the way, to your slow-mo spring practice videos with the NFL music in the background that I've loved for quite a while.
Well, there's a story behind that. I grew up obsessed with NFL films. Like, I would get home from school, and like 3:30, I'm somehow tuned in to like the 1963 NFL championship. With, it's moving in slow motion. There's all this instrumental music behind it. It blew my mind. Like Steve Sable, NFL films guy, Ed Sable, his dad who founded it. They're like heroes to this random 8-year-old kid in East Tennessee. So that's where that comes from.
I love it. So Grant, who has more injuries right now? Tennessee going into the orange and white game or the Atlanta Braves?
The Atlanta Braves. They have more injuries than anyone on the planet. And they're actually playing real games that actually mean something in the standings. I'm not sure spring football really exists other than it just kind of happens.
It's fair.
That's fair.
What are you most interested in seeing this Saturday? Because it feels like the running back position has been a big topic of conversation, but we do this so often where there's a position that's so interesting to us in the spring, and then Josh Heupel plays 3 of those guys in the entire season just based off the nature of his offense. Is there one position you're focusing more specifically on coming up this weekend?
I am interested in running back for sure because Jabari Small's out, Jalen Wright's been limited, so there's a focus on the depth pieces that you have there now. I mean, we were talking about this on the VolQuest podcast the other day. It feels like Dylan Sampson this spring has somehow become the veteran, and he's entering his sophomore season. He's only been here for a year, but he's kind of like the oldest guy on the field. Ahead of Deshaun Bishop, ahead of Cam Seldon, these 2 freshmen that come in, and they've done good things, and Dylan's had a really good spring, a really impressive spring by all accounts. So I am interested there. I'm interested in the offensive line with just the number of changes they're going to make there. Interested to see, all these transfers they brought in, Dante Thornton, the transfers on the offensive line. Interested to see the defensive backs because they need to make so much progress there in the secondary. From last year, and they did add some pieces there. So there's a lot of transfers to watch. There's some fun stuff to keep an eye on. It's just a matter of what are we actually going to see on Saturday, how much of it's going to mean anything. Like spring football, you don't really get any answers. You just kind of watch football, you talk about football, and then you just kind of put it on the shelf until August, and you start asking the same questions all over again.
Considering there has to be improvement in the secondary, what has the competition been like between the wide receivers and the secondary? Because this has to be a very nice group of wide receivers, even with what's his name, Brew McCoy being out. What has that been like this year?
Yeah, I think you just look at the talent there. I think you look at the last couple of years, and you look at what Cedric Tillman did in 2021, and you look at what Jalen Hyatt did last season. Back-to-back 1,000-yard receivers. Jalen Hyatt wins the Blitnikoff. He's going to be a high draft pick. Cedric's going to be a high draft pick as well. You just assume there's going to be production there, and you try to figure out, is that going to be Dante Thornton? Is Squirrel White going to step into a bigger role? What's Dante Thornton look like from Oregon, and kind of how explosive is he right out of the gate, and how productive is he? There are veterans in that secondary. Now, a lot of those guys, kind of struggled a year ago, and that was kind of their Achilles heel. After the first scrimmage, it felt like the defense was ahead of the offense. Then after the second scrimmage, it felt like the offense was ahead of the defense. But a lot of that was the run game. So I think you've got to make a ton of progress in the secondary. I think they added some pieces. Gabe Judy-Lowry is a guy that I think can help them. So I don't know who's won the battles there more often this spring, but I do think there's some new guys there. Something interesting to watch on Saturday in the spring game.
The one question I have with the quarterback position, I'm all in on Joe just being Bazooka Joe and all those things. Has there been an added finesse to his short game when it comes down to him delivering the ball to receivers to extend plays with their own legs?
I mean, I think you gotta wait until you can see it before you believe it. But I think that's obviously the emphasis. I mean, they know what Joe can do. They know he can throw it, 100 yards and all that stuff, and they know, how much he can put on the football in those intermediate routes. It's just a matter of that touch and that finesse and being able to take the short stuff. I thought what we saw in the Orange Bowl, not the Orange and White game, was encouraging with how he, some of those touchdown passes he threw the windows, he got the ball in, the way he just kind of managed the offense and managed that game. I thought that was a really big step forward. Now, I'm sure ever since then, the emphasis has continued to be on those shorter balls and connecting there. And we know what you can do on the long ball. What can you do in the intermediate routes? So I think you got to wait until you see it something before you believe it, or see it consistently before you believe it. But I do think that's where the emphasis has been for sure.
Grant, recruiting has changed. This time of the year is when most of your high recruits start committing, from now to July-ish, I feel like. How do you think Hype and them are going to be able to field this group the same way as they did last year? Because it's not about your X's and O's sometimes, although the offense can be that way, but the Jimmys and Joes have to be really good too. Are they going to, you think, crush it as much as they did last year?
I don't see why not. Just when you have 11 wins and you have all the positive momentum that this program's had really quickly over the last 2 years, and what Heupel's done in the short time he's been here, I don't see why you don't keep building, and especially in recruiting, because, when was the last time Tennessee had this kind of momentum, I guess multi-year kind of sustained momentum? Obviously, this team's got to do something as well to kind of, follow an 11-win improbable crazy season that 2022 was. But with the success they've had, you would think that's going to translate in recruiting. Heupel's a guy he's been a player first coach since he's got here. He's been a guy that's been about building those relationships and that trust off the field before you ask him to do anything on the field. So I don't see why it doesn't continue positive. That trajectory doesn't just kind of keep climbing and include recruiting in that, because they've done so much stuff the first couple of years that wasn't really expected of them to do this quickly, to be where they are at this point, given what they inherited.
It also helps, Grant, that Tennessee is just building its name up in every aspect when it comes to sports. They're just good at everything right now. And I love this article that you wrote. It said that AD Danny White had set a goal for 70,000 plus season tickets at Neelam in 2026-27. They've already met that goal. Like, that's incredible. Players want to come to a place where they're supported. I don't know if there's some teams, obviously, but this is incredible.
It is. Just the fact that you've sold over 70,000 season tickets. And like you said, that goal was for 2026, 2027.
Yeah.
Here we are in 2023. They had, this was as of Tuesday, they had less than 300 season tickets remaining in the stadium. That's insane to go from, I think it was a little over 61,000 a year ago, and obviously you go 8-0 at home, and you have home wins over Florida and Alabama, and to do what they did over the entire season, but to do what they did at home, especially with the emotional wins they had at home, to be over 70,000, to be there this quickly. Football drives the train, obviously. Football is going to be what carries an athletic department in just about every athletic department in the country. So for Tennessee to win 11 games and for it to translate into 70,000 plus season tickets and to be this far ahead of schedule, you would think it bodes well, but at the same time, when you say everything's going right, you better knock on wood.
Yeah.
And hope it continues that way.
So we're going to see what happens with Joe Milton. But let's say Joe Milton has a great season and he's one of the high, draft picks. And you have Hendon Hooker. We don't know where he's going to go this year. Do you feel like with Josh Heupel as the head coach and just the quarterback commits they already have down the line, this could become a situation where Tennessee can start to filter into the NFL some QBs, some good QBs?
For sure, and the knock always seems to be on Josh Heupel, and for a while on Hendon Hooker was he has a QB-friendly offense, and they spread the receivers out so far wide to the sidelines, and they only make reads on half the field, and all this stuff. They take it out of the quarterback's hands is what a lot of people say, and then you hear Josh Heupel say that he's getting questions from NFL personnel about his offense and how to implement it at the next level. And you look at Hendon Hooker the last, whatever it's been, 4 or 6 weeks, how he's just continually climbed, and they're talking about him being a late first-round pick at this point, even though he is, 25, going to be 26 in January, coming off a torn ACL. I mean, you just look at that and the production that's consistently there. We talked about the production at wide receiver, how much they run the ball as well. They're I think their run game's more underrated in the country because of what everybody looks at the passes and all that stuff and what Hendon Hooker did. They run the ball too, and I think they're going to produce running backs as well because they put up those numbers there too. So it feels like when you have that production, when you turn that production into draft picks, that's what gets kids' attention. That's where they want to go. They want to go somewhere that's going to get them to the NFL as fast as they can get there. And with this draft class coming up, it feels like that should help Tennessee obviously sell a ton of that on the recruiting trail.
Grant Ramey from VolQuest at On3, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Switching gears, Grant, to college basketball. Crazy to see yesterday that about 20% of college basketball is in the transfer portal right now. With the question marks for this Tennessee team moving forward into the offseason, how active do you expect Tennessee to be in the transfer market?
They need at least 2, if not 3 transfer guys. They are active in the portal. There are a lot of guys they're chasing. There's a guy in Harvard, Chris Ledlam. He's a forward. He's a guy that's going to be on an official visit this weekend for the orange and white game. There's a guy at Northern Colorado, Dalton Knecht. He's 6'6", 200. He's kind of a wing forward guy. That's another guy that they're after. So they're after a big man, or big men, plural maybe. They're after guards that can score it, give them some depth in the backcourt. But yeah, the way I've explained it to people, it's like NBA free agency if everybody in the NBA was on a 1-year contract. And you get to the off season and you basically just kind of decide what's best for you. If you're a player that had a bigger piece of the pie this previous season, then you might want more name, image, and likeness money moving forward because you played a bigger role for your team. So, and if you don't get that money, maybe you enter the portal and you look around at what you could get elsewhere. So it's crazy. It's only going to get crazier at some point. We'll get our minds wrapped around how this works. But being so new and just growing every offseason, it's still the wild, wild west for sure.
Grant, do you see any of Tennessee's seniors coming back for a 5th season? And what's the timeline, you think, for Josiah Jordan-James or Santiago Vescovi specifically to make a decision?
I think the timeline is yesterday because you're trying to build your roster and you don't really want to waste any time waiting on those decisions and trying to figure out, do I need to save a spot for this guy or whatever. I think they will get something from Santi somewhat soon. It feels like we've been saying that for 2 weeks, but they're waiting on it. And I think he's the guy that legitimately might be back next season or could be back, or the one that's thinking about it the most. I don't know about Josiah. It seems like he's going to want to go through the process and get feedback and see what kind of the next step would be for him. Urosh, I don't expect back. Olivier Kamwai, obviously he put his name in the portal and that kind of turned some heads a week, 10 days ago, however long ago that was. I don't really expect him to play college basketball next season at this point. I think he'll start his professional career, even though his name is in the portal and he's been linked to a couple schools. We'll see what happens there. But for me right now, it feels like Santi's the only realistic possibility or the only guy that's, I guess, legitimately thinking about it and could be back again next season.
Grant, how big is it for Coach Kelly Harper and the Lady Vols that Jordan Horston went in the top 10 in the WNBA draft? And I say that because UT, as it stands, the Lady Vols don't have a Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark. And now that you're putting out a top 10 pick in the WNBA draft, that's got to at least turn some heads on that Ladies Vols program because you need the players. And I feel like that's the separator between us taking that next step. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I think it's brand. I think it's relevance. I think it's, at Tennessee, you have the facilities. You got the name on the uniform that everybody in college basketball, ladies college basketball knows. You just have to have something to sell. They've had some success. They went to the Sweet 16. But now it's just about how do you spin that forward and build on that. And if you have a top 10 pick in the draft, obviously in Jordan Horston, then you do sell the fact that you got her there. You helped get her to the WNBA as a top 10 pick, and whoever you're recruiting, you can help get there in the same way that you helped her get there. You're going to have the facilities. You're going to play in the iconic, Tennessee Lady Vols brand, and we're going to help you get to the next level and possibly be a top 10 pick like they've done before.
Yep.
Grant Ramey has been our guest covering Tennessee for On3 and VolQuest.com at Grant Ramey, where you can find him on Twitter. Grant, thank you for the time as always, and we'll be anxiously awaiting your next slow-mo practice video.
Now, y'all are de-energized. I told you. I took the energy right out of this place.
We honestly probably needed that. But no, not because of you.
He put it off on you.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, he did.
Call Mike if you want to keep it going.
All right, perfect. Sounds good.
That's
Sounds
what she
good.
said.
Thank you, Grant. There's Grant Ramey with us this morning. Never an energy vampire. As someone who did cover, I believe, the Derek Dooley era as well at Tennessee. Did he? Back in the energy vampire. Oh no, but energy vampire was a Butch one. Yeah, that was early days Butch Jones phrase.
I thought Butch brought energy.
Well, no,
The wrong kind of it.
He did a press conference that said we don't need any energy vampires in our building. Derek Dooley, though, the best press conference coach, not named Steve Spurrier in SEC history.
Why so?
Without question.
I'm
He
gonna be
was
real.
hysterical.
I blacked out in the Dooley era. I did.
That's got to be racist.
Blacked out in the Dooley era. I did.
His "Where's Rommel" speech. Oh,
never heard it.
Well, he
Wow.
did one. You're gonna laugh at me. He did a press conference one time about shower discipline.
I'm sorry. What?
He would just say things.
See?
What goes into
why,
that?
That's why coaches suck right there, Kayla.
No, he was a good soundbite. Tennessee's had some
Again.
good sound bites, and then we paid for it when we had Butch and Pruitt because they were terrible sound bites.
That's why coaches suck right there. They want to win the press conference. Okay?
Wow.
They want to win the press conference.
Well, with
hypo,
him,
boring.
with him though,
Right?
I'm gonna say
He's getting better, I think, though.
Better, but still on the edge of boring, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting him next week, so hopefully.
No. What I'm saying is this: they worry about shower etiquette instead of coaching. That's why some coaches suck, right there. Okay, from a player's perspective, we worry about shower. We worried about the shower. Great soundbite for us.
What happened was his the exact quote. This article is from 2010, September 2010. He said, "We had a few staph infections, so we had a clinic yesterday on proper shower technique and soap and using a rag." And Dooley said, "We put some new rags in. Y'all think I'm kidding, but I'm serious.
Oh, my.
I told them, the worst shower discipline of any team I've ever been around." So he talked about application of soap. This is a real thing that happened. I wish we could still have Grant on. Could ask him about this. It was a wild time in the history of Tennessee athletics.
I know.
Well, you can't be hating on coaches that do that though, because Mike Leach, the late great Mike Leach, was one of the best, and he was a pretty good football coach.
He's an outlier. Okay, he did that in all facets of his game. No, did he not? Like, they weren't consistent in their categories. No, they just sucked this coach. Mike Leach. Wonderful human being, okay?
So as much as you talk about offensive linemen who have the liberty to be themselves, and linemen have the personality.
Oh, they're so boring.
Coaches can have personality too?
Well, what's the difference in the two right there, okay?
What is it?
There's a difference
What's
in the
the
two.
difference?
The personality of a coach trying to win the press conference means that he's not focused in on the actual game itself, right?
Can you not do both?
Well, look, if I'm trying to impress you as a coach, then I'm losing my focus as a coach too, okay? Focus in on your guys. Then why are we up there trying to be Mr. Win-It-All with the media?
But then why do we criticize guys for giving canned answers then too?
Well,
and then when
I'll say
they're
this.
actually themselves, then we criticize them for that too. Like,
No.
which is it?
From a coach, I expect canned answers. From players, because we're judged way differently than coaches are, because we have no purpose, supposed to just be soldiers. No. We can show that. The coaches, on the other hand, no, do your job.
Why are majority linemen not fun to talk to? Because I can only name
I
about
thought it was
three.
the opposite.
No.
No,
At
I'm
least
serious.
not that I've talked to in the Titan. I mean, look, Taylor Lewan, soundbite, walking soundbite. We all know that. Ben
better or
Jones
worse.
would talk, but Ben Jones is Ben Jones, like in the locker room. He's not going to go outside of Ben Jones. There wasn't many O linemen in that Titans locker room over the past 6 years that we would go to get sound bites from. It's just a fact.
I would say culture, probably.
I think that's more about the Titans than it is
I was
offensive
gonna say,
linemen.
every
Really?
single one of my dudes were just out there. Even DeCastro,
Okay.
who's a Stanford nerd,
He was kind of crazy.
very charismatic.
At UT, the
Interesting.
best sound bites were offensive linemen.
Okay, well, that has not been the case for me.
Culture, comfortable. Like, how long have these guys been there? Like, when you have a group of older dudes that can teach the young dudes how to be young and then grow old, like, you can move too quick. Culture, I think, more than anything. Most offensive linemen have so much personality.
Yeah, not the case.
They're just beaten up from Derrick Henry running into
Do your job! Yeah.
Oh, no, literally. Just Derrick. Like
Taylor
a
made up
wrecking
for all
ball.
of them, I think.
Well, yeah. Taylor talked enough for the whole offensive line and then some. Taylor talked enough for offensive linemen across the league.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Coming up next, the specifics on what we got into it there with Grant on Tennessee smashing its ticket expectations. A 96% renewal rate. A lot of excitement, and I want to set an over-under on attendance for the orange and white game and see which way y'all go. Coming up, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
If you've been here for a while, you know what a big deal this is. The Genesis Diamond Spring store-wide sale is coming up. 3 incredible days. Listen to me, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. This is the big one with unbelievable store-wide savings up to 35% off. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelet, pendants, thousands of engagement ring settings, natural and lab-grown diamonds. Special pricing across the board, too, with 0 interest financing as well. This is when the staff at Genesis knows they can break all of the rules. Plus, world-class designers are flying in with all new collections of fashion jewelry from New York and California. This is the stuff you can't find anywhere else, and it will all be on sale. And if you're getting engaged this spring or have a special event coming up like graduation, Mother's Day, fellas, anniversaries, birthdays, you can't miss this incredible buying opportunity. At Genesis, and Genesis will be opening up the vault for this, the largest collection of GIA-certified diamonds you can imagine. All shapes, all sizes, at prices you've never thought was possible. Don't miss the expanded selection and the extreme value pricing. People will drive hours just to be a part of this, and up to $10,000 off some items. It's not this weekend, no, but next weekend, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds and Luxury Pre-Owned Rolexes, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Wrapping up Power 3 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Whole crew here. As we get ready for the fourth quarter of the show, and Rhett Bryan joining us on the other side. Over under 55,000 people at the Orange and White game. Take your bets.
Over.
I thought you was going to start at like 65.
I said 65 originally, and then I was going to bring it down to 60. I think 55 is still reasonable, too. It is not free now.
Yeah, I know.
It's $5.
$5.
Oh, breaking the bank.
It's not yeah.
Well,
Shay,
for some.
Over under 55,000 in Knoxville Saturday.
As long as the weather's good, it's going to be way over.
Yeah, I'm pushing. If I
So
can
what do you
mark
think then?
87,000.
87?
No, I'm thinking you're probably highest 70.
I was going to say 70 is the
70.
ceiling.
I'm going 87.
You barely got 87
put
a
a bet
couple
on
years
that?
ago for FCS
Yeah,
teams.
I put a bet on it.
All right, we got to put a bet on that.
Put a bet on that.
All right.
Yeah, 87.
We're going to figure something
I'll
out.
write it down right now.
I hope
You know what?
it's
Here's the
87.
bet. If you lose.
Oh, how you going to make this rule? Because
Well, hell,
just a
somebody
bet.
had
You
to
can-
do it.
Okay, over under.
You can counter.
You have to have a barbecue with the rest of the show.
Oh.
Seriously, let me
That
check
shouldn't
out the
even be a
weekend.
bet. That was
No.
supposed to be done.
I know,
This
but I'm
forces
try-
me to
I'm-
push it
I'm
even further.
Oh, give me a
I'm
break,
trying to
Ramon.
shame him even more.
Y'all act like I'm not a man of my word with this thing.
I don't
Okay, we
have a
got to wait for
Saturday
the
for a
Bro,
while.
bro,
the
bro.
weather this week coming up right
Bro,
now.
bro.
All right,
This week? I can't do it this week.
Y'all behind.
This week,
better
I'm out of
show
town.
up.
You know what? His schedule just
You've
opened
known
up for
about
this
this.
week.
Yeah, my schedule's open this week.
You've known about this.
You have baseball Saturday.
I do have. I got baseball Friday. Now I'm actually going up Saturday.
When
Yeah,
is
that's right, you're going
baseball
to
done?
Knoxville.
Going to
May?
Knoxville, huh?
Baseball's
Next
done in
weekend.
like September.
Okay, youth baseball is never done.
No, that's facts.
What's next weekend? Let me look at my kid's schedule real quick.
Next weekend
Seriously,
is-
seriously.
This is an audio medium.
I'm serious, Ramon. I don't have a Saturday until Memorial Day week.
You don't.
No.
To Memorial Day? I
No,
usually
not
throw a
till
big
Memorial
Q
Day.
that weekend, though.
well, that's my
Memorial
birthday.
Day.
That's my
Memorial Day?
birthday weekend, so I
Are
expect
you in a
even more.
Are you here in Miami? Which one you doing?
What do you mean? Why would I be in Miami?
It's for your birthday.
No.
You've gone to Miami twice this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So?
You would go again, especially
No,
for Memorial
I don't
Day
have
weekend.
I don't have endless money like that.
I think I'm leaving Memorial Day weekend.
Well, that's the thing too. I'm gonna sound very sexist when I say that, but women don't need a whole lot of money to go out and have
No,
a great time like
not
fellas.
true.
We
Not
just
true.
we gotta buy.
That's the next hour of the show.
You
Not
opened up
true.
a can of worms with that
Yeah,
one.
I did.
I'm not going to let my...
There's facts in that, Will. Come on now. There is facts in it. The dude's got to get like the bar. You got to get the section. You got to buy the bottles. You got to have a nice outfit on. The girls like y'all just show up and the dude's like, yeah, come on. And I'd be like, suckers, look at y'all out here. Kayla smile right now because it is somewhat partially
Maybe when
true.
I was in my 20s.
not taking a side.
I mean, you still are in your 20s, Kayla. We're not going to say
Yeah,
your
nice
age
try.
ever on this. No. You're 27.
Yeah, if you
right?
say my age, you're fired.
27.
We just say
That's what I said. You told me 27 like
No,
2
I
days
did.
ago.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
okay, all right. That's what I was thinking. So Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, sure.
All right, I'm going to lay this thing out.
I
You hear
just
me?
think Shafe said no.
Shafe said no for what?
Memorial Day
Memorial
weekend.
Day weekend.
Why? Why is he a
I
no
love how
for
we're
that?
confirming our plans as
I know.
the show on
This
the
is
show.
Crazy, man.
Because I've got track in 3 weeks, and then in 5 weeks, and then NSC games on the weekends. I don't have track.
There's only
I
one
was
seat now.
I was going to go back to Pennsylvania. We're more.
You going back to Pennsylvania?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, you've been over enough that we can do it without.
That's what I'm saying. No. I was going to say go ahead with them because I mean I've been over.
Why
enough.
you
We're
say
good.
well with them like they're nobody's in this equation?
That's gotta be
racist. That's gotta be racist.
not what I'm saying at all.
You people.
You blah blah blah.
Yeah, he said affectionately, you people.
He did in a different version. Way to go, Shafe.
What do you mean, you people?
Way to be a Debbie about this thing. That's crazy.
Hey, you know what?
What?
AP Ramon Foster.
That's fair.
So I'm told the NBA playoffs started last night.
Huh?
That happened.
Yeah, it
with
did.
The
Play-in
sorry,
games.
yesterday.
I actually
Playing
watched
games.
some.
Games.
I watched Iron Eagle last
The
night. do
Atlanta
Hawks game.
Hawks.
Yeah, my Hawks won. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whoa
Who are my Hawks
no
playing?
shut up. You can't
played the
say
Heat.
The
you
Miami
can't say
Heat.
did the playoffs start
Yeah.
last night and then
Yeah.
go, oh yeah, my Hawks.
Yeah,
You
they
can't
are
do
my-
both.
They're my Atlanta Hawks.
I mean, how Ramon Arsenal is that? You can't do both.
I've been a
what
friend
do I
of
have
the.
to do with that?
I've been a fan
It's
of the
because
Hawks
you took a shot at me earlier, so I just got you back.
since Al Horford, Josh Smith, and Joe Johnson. I've been a Hawks fan. This was the year where they had the 24-game win streak,
Yeah.
and they got swept by the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Final.
You didn't know the playoffs started last night.
You didn't.
Well, yeah, but that's because the NBA changes the playoff format
you
at the
didn't
end of
know
this
that the
season.
Hawks were playing. You can't say
That's
my
an
Hawks,
NBA
my
the
Hawks,
play-in
my
game
Hawks,
has
my
been a thing
Hawks.
for 2 years.
No, you didn't know they were playing
More
last
than one
night.
is plural. Throw an S on it, Will. Thank you.
You said they've
lose
been doing that
Devil
4
in the
years.
details, baby.
You can't say something's been happening 4 years.
And you
It's been
can't say
happening for 2 years.
you're a fan if you didn't know they were playing in the playoffs last night.
Come on.
My Hawks.
Well, I am a lifelong Lakers fan since this morning.
Okay.
Why are you this?
I'm told they're playing the Grizzlies. I learned this from Ali, who tweeted
They
at
are
us,
playing the
Ballin' Ali.
Grizzlies starting this weekend.
You used to be better than this.
No, he's not. He's never been better.
L-A-K-E-R-S. Lakers, Lakers, Lakers.
Hell no.
Is that our
Never
cheer?
been a.
That's our cheer now.
No.
Final hour of the show. Rhett Bryan coming up next. We'll
my
talk some
God.
wide receivers on 104.5 The Zone.
Go to break.
Well, we are now joined by our good friend Dean Glasscock of Arbor Art Tree and Shrub, your expert in trees and shrubs right here in Middle Tennessee. You guys have so many great services, so much experience. Tell us more about insect and disease control on ornamental trees and shrubs, Dean.
Hey there, happy, what is it, Wednesday? Yeah, happy Wednesday, everybody. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Spring has sprung, and that means the bugs and diseases are starting. The pressure of all of that that's combined onto our plants, they can cause havoc. We can help you with that. We come out 6 to 7 times a year, depending on what you want to choose. And we maintain your ornamental trees and shrubs. That means, your investment. It's very expensive these days with new landscaping and whatnot. So you can trust us. 29 years we've been around serving the community. I'm really proud of that. And the number is 615-299-9999. That disease and insect control is exactly that. You don't want to eradicate these bugs. You just want to control them because there's an ecosystem involved. We know what we're doing. And we can protect your investment. So, again, 615-299-9999. We've got certified arborists on staff and also certified through Tennessee, the techs that go out and do the work. Very knowledgeable, very approachable. So we want to serve you if we can. We sure appreciate you all very much. Have a great day. Thank you.
They are the real deal. 29 years of experience. Arbor Art Tree and Shrub. You can check them out online at arborart.net. And you can call them 615-299-9999. That's Arbor Art Tree and Shrub.
9:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Atlanta Braves defeated the Cincinnati Reds 7-6 yesterday. Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies each homered for Atlanta.
Ozzie swinging it from the left side, and he hits one well to right field. Lots of force on this one. Hello, Chop House. A 2-run homer. And Ozzie ties the game here in the fourth inning.
Braves now 8-4 on the season. They've won 2 in a row after losing 3 straight. To college baseball yesterday, midweek games, both scores 14-2. Vandy over North Alabama and Tennessee over Eastern Kentucky. The Jets defeated the Wild 3-1 in the NHL yesterday. Jets clinched the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. That means the Nashville Predators missing the playoffs for the first time since the 2013-2014 season. And the Titans have officially announced their new deal with Jeffery Simmons. Big Jeff will meet with the media at noon today from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear it on the Buck Rising Show on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show, Wednesday morning edition. A great morning to have a great morning. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, our broadcast veteran Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen.
The best producer in the world.
Joining us, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans, he is the one and only Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio.
The Indianapolis Colts.
That is right. Good morning, Rhett.
Heard Scooby had that on the back of a golf shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Scooby went all in, man.
Good.
Wow.
Very good. Rhett Bryan, presented as always by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage with an affordable price tag. Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans for 76 years. Before we get to our draft conversation today, we'll talk a little Jeffery Simmons with his press conference coming up at noon today. I want to go quickly to the phone lines to Jason in Murfreesboro. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. I just wanted to give a shout out today. My birthday, guys. I call in a lot.
It's your birthday.
And I wanted to hear some of that Rocky Top playing.
Oh. There you go. Oh, no. Oh, God.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Happy birthday, Jason.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Ramon's new career, puppetry.
Puppet master out
Puppet
there.
master Ramon Foster.
Oh, man.
Who was the creator of the Muppets again?
Jim Henson.
Jim Henson.
Jim Henson.
There you
Got
go.
nothing on Ramon Foster.
Right.
Not with
Happy
Smokey.
birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday, Jason.
It's got a perfect day for a birthday celebration. Too sunny outside, mild
Sunny and
weather.
80 in the Mid-South.
More of the sweet
Light
sounds.
and variable winds.
That's right.
Ooh,
Is
love
it really light and variable winds? I'll take that. Ooh.
Time for the woohoo girls.
Hey, been a rough month weather.
I'm getting married. Let's go, girl.
Hey, cash at me.
Cash out me.
goodness.
Yeah.
Buy the bride a drink at my Venmo.
I want to throw a brick through those people's windows.
You'll see me on a pedal tavern in an intersection near you.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw a dude on the paddle tavern. Everybody was paddling, but this one dude, man. I was like,
A paddle tavern?
What's that one? Drinking and
What are
riding.
they
That's what
doing
we'll
on that
call it.
bicycle, Ramon?
This dude was doing nothing. I'm like, it's always one. Like, do your part.
a minute.
Everybody's pedaling but you,
A
man.
paddle tavern sounds like corporal punishment.
Oh,
in
yeah.
school when they used to whip you know what?
You just have to pay extra
You
for
put
that.
those in lakes, too. You can paddle those, too, you know? Paddle boats.
All right.
Chief said you used to have to pay extra for
He's doubling down, going, you can do it on Old Hickory Lake, okay? It's Percy Priest.
Yeah, you do that at Party Cove.
A paddle
Party
tavern.
Cove. Where's Party Cove at?
Is that Old Hickory Lake?
Is that all?
Yeah.
I got no idea.
It's a big thing.
So funny.
All I know is y'all need to be safe on them lakes, man. I'm tired of getting these alerts to my phone.
It's the
man.
Wild West out there.
I heard it's that
It
bad.
is the Wild West.
Somebody said like those cigar boats that be out there doing like 80 on the lake.
Yeah, you got to really be careful.
What's wrong
Please
with you
be careful
people?
out there.
Yeah, please be careful, man.
It is that time of the year.
And don't forget to wear your personal flotation devices.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a great swimmer, so I'm very much a
Wait a minute.
big life.
You're
vest
not
guy.
a great swimmer?
Not at all.
I figured
Like,
you'd
I
be a
can
really
swim.
good swimmer.
Like I can, but like the thing I cannot do to save my life, legitimately, if I had to save my life, I cannot tread water.
Really?
Like, not for the life of me.
Wow.
I do not know how to tread water. Well, I know how you would, but I cannot tread water.
I have the exact same problem.
Really?
I have no problem swimming. I can't
It's
tread
the
water.
tread
Dude,
water.
you're as big around as a piece of rice. How do you not
I'm
float
not
to the
buoyant.
top? What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
No, it's like
The buoyancy factor on Will is 0, is what you're saying.
So in high
Wow.
school at our like cross country training camp every summer, we would do a water run.
Yeah.
Or literally you do a 30-minute, like it's like cross training where you literally do like a run in the water where you tread water for 30 minutes.
I'm
And
sorry, for 30 minutes?
That's what I'm saying. And I would find a rock and run in place on a rock in the middle of the water.
Well,
My coaches are listening right now. I'm
really
so sorry.
treading. I promise I'm
Yeah.
treading.
I'm
Don't
like,
look,
here
I'm
we
treading.
go.
Can I just say
I would either
this?
do that or I would get a
That's
noodle.
way
Will.
too long, though.
You're white, man. Culturally, you're supposed to be able to learn how to swim.
Shame.
That's gotta be
Shame.
racist.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. Most like a lot of black people I know don't know how to swim and buck.
I know how to swim. I
And
don't
Did
know
you
how to
say
tread
and
water.
buck?
And buck, yeah, buck
There's a
doesn't know how to
difference.
swim.
And
How's the
underline it, don't want to learn
Don't
how to
want
swim.
to.
Don't want no
I
part
ain't
of it.
Buck
wrong in
doesn't
this.
swim at all.
We can be real on this show. Like legitimately, like I look at Will's like Brentwood kid, like Williams, like you know how to swim and just deep dive.
I know how to swim.
That's
I
gotta
just
be
can't
racist.
tread water.
I'm not even like going
What
at
he's
Brentwood.
saying
Like
is he never hung around the deep end of the pool for long.
wow.
I wouldn't just
He'd
like
jump
sit
off
there
the
and
diamond
just,
board, but he was quickly
Yeah.
make his way to a place where he could put his
like
feet on
if
it.
I was moving, I was
Yeah.
good. Like I could swim laps or like go back and forth, whatever. I just can't stay in one place and keep my head above
I
water
have
for very long.
100% the same problem.
Yeah.
You break the stereotype for me then.
Hey,
Just
by the
gonna
way,
throw
you
that
know
out
who
there.
can buy himself a new pool?
Who?
Segway. Jeffrey Simmons.
There he is.
I'm here all week. Tip
There
the
it
server,
is.
try the veal. Let's go.
I think so. You mentioned on 3HL last week the only person happier than Jeffery Simmons about Big Jeff's extension was Tierra Tart. I'm willing to put Rhett Bryan on that list as well. Let's go.
I'm telling you, and I said this last week on 3HL when it broke. And I would urge you to do the same thing because, listen, the winners in this, obviously Jeffery Simmons, his family, Titans fans, but the community and the kids. Jeffery Simmons started his foundation and launched it late in the football season last year. Give him a reason. And his initiative in trying to get kids who don't have a whole lot, and where he's from in Mississippi, that's a thing for sure. And there's plenty of kids here in Nashville and Middle Tennessee, same thing. Give him a reason. The whole thing is he wants children to be, he said, excel at whatever you can do. Give them a reason to pay attention to you. Give them a reason to help you excel. Get on their radar so that you can go further in this. And I was so excited. I went and donated to his charity, to his foundation, and I would urge others to. If you just go in Jeff's Twitter there at GrindSimmons94, it's the link in the bio is right there. I would urge people to do that because the kids in Nashville and the kids in Mississippi and wherever he's on the ground doing help, they're the ones who won in this because I think he's going to do really good things with this foundation with his new fortune that he earned, all of it. I'm super, super happy that he is a Tennessee Titan for a long time to come. Did not have any doubts that it would happen. He's arguably one of the best 2 or 3 players on this team, if not the best player on this team, and saw him powering through and grinding out through a bad ankle. I mean, he cares. He loves this sport. He loves this game. He loves his teammates. He loves Nashville. He loves the Titans for taking a chance on him. And I remember the day after he was drafted, he said, I'll never let you down. I'm going to give this everything I've got. I'm going to show how appreciative I am. He's walked the walk and talked the talk. And I'm so happy for the Titans fans, the whole deal, but especially the kids, because there's gonna be some kids that get some really cool experiences and things to help get them ready for life because of this.
That's beautiful, man. Like, legitimately, to your point, the Titans taking a risk on him, like taking that chance on him. That's huge because other teams had that opportunity. And other teams looked at other things aside from the fact of maybe understanding who Jeffery is, situation just in general, and what they're actually going to get out of the person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where you have to be sometimes in that type of situation is the person.
And let me take the one off-the-field incident that, honestly, I'm still angry at ESPN for the way they did him the night he was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not good at all.
Yep.
Take that aside. If he didn't have an ACL in a pre-draft workout, there's no way the Titans get him at 19.
Nope.
No way.
No way.
Not even.
He's a top 5 pick in any draft from that draft on.
And now you look at that and you say that's why it's willing to take that type of risk. And let's be real, too, at that sweet spot of where they picked him, you can afford that type of risk for a guy like that with a ACL.
But, he's now, with his extension, he's potentially going to be on this roster when the new stadium opens in 2027.
That's big time.
How big was it just in terms of, no pun intended, how big was it to bring Big Jeff back just in terms of that locker room, the culture that has always been impressive since I've been here, at least, but because it's been a defensive team for the past several years, and to have a guy like that be brought back just to always set the tone, I feel like is important too.
Well, now let me say this: he was going to be back because he was under a 5th-year option.
Yes, that's true.
But now he's going to be
long-term
out plus some, right? And Kayla, you've seen it. You're down on the field doing television things and all that before games. You see when they're in those warm-ups and when they break the huddle to go in the locker room. I started seeing it 2 seasons ago.
Yes,
very vocal, getting guys together, getting guys amped. One of the vocal and leaders. I mean, he's a captain, so you don't get that seed patch on your jersey, Ramon, if you're not the real deal.
But not as a young guy.
Your teammates vote on you and elect you in that position. It's a high, high honor.
It is.
It's huge. And listen, big check mark for Rand Carthon getting this done, because that is one of the most important pieces of business he needed to do in his early tenure as general manager. Had no doubts that he wouldn't pull it off, but he got it done now. Mm-hmm. And so now it's 2 weeks tomorrow night. The NFL draft starts, and they are full tilt boogie in that war room, I promise you.
Can I ask you a little bit more about Jeff and this signing in the defense after this break? I know wide receivers today. Get into that too.
Yep, going through some day 2 or 3 wide receivers. And Rhett also is going to bring us a player that he feels the Titans are vetting that we have not discussed yet.
And this one is a late day 3, probably preferred free agent, undrafted free agent from right down the road at Carson Newman.
Oh, the Eagles. Dang. Jefferson City stand up, East Tennessee. We'll talk about that with Rhett Bryan coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
If you have a wet basement or crawl space, it's time to call United Structural Systems. We've all heard about these guys for a long time, and for good reasons. They've served Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they've helped thousands of satisfied residential customers in that time. They are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And if you have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that. Water intrusion and moisture could give you all sorts of problems down the road, and you want to get this fixed. It could be because you have poor drainage, the surface water water flooding over the walls, or underwater pressure forcing water into the basement. Or it could be a plumbing leak you just don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems will find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space and will give you a plan to fix it. And if you decide to move forward, you don't have to pay a dime until the work is done and you are satisfied. So get that free estimate from the people I trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or call them at 615-227-2275. United Structural Systems.
Hour number 4 on the Wednesday morning edition. We did 3 hours, then we said we'll go back, Jack, and do it again.
Woo!
In the morning, you go gunning for the man who stole your water. Do it again, Steely Dan.
Yes.
Ramon Foster, Kayla
This
Anderson.
song's over 50 years old.
Rhett Bryan.
And it still hits
Crazy.
hard.
Kind of sounds like the Law and Order SVU instrumental.
A little bit.
Dun, 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 dun.
Do it again.
Not this part, but the
Where's
part
Mariska Hargitay?
That's right. I love SVU. It's a good show.
Mariska Hargitay, beautiful lady.
Yep.
Of course, her mom, not bad.
Judy
I
Garland.
know.
Judy Garland?
Judy Garland? What?
Wasn't that her mom?
No.
Oh, Jane Mansfield.
Yeah,
It-
Jane Mansfield.
I got
Mansfield, yeah.
my bad. I got her in a
Just
second.
a bit outside.
Hey, you know what?
And her dad was a
demerit.
world-class bodybuilder, fitness expert, Mickey Hargitay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The more you know.
Interesting.
Rhett, I wanted to ask you that question going into the break, but I waited about this team.
Go.
Oh,
with
God.
Jeff.
Look,
I
he's
just
trying to
wanted
be
take
all
it.
like proper.
I
Give
am.
me a break.
It's like, I'm going to pivot to some real football
Give
talk
me
now.
a break, Ramon.
Yo, Will does it so flawless. I'm like, all right, they're talking. Let me get to this real quick.
I'm going to pivot to some real football talk now. Go ahead, Ramon.
We're getting Big Jeff set, man, and Tierra with his tender and everything else, man. Defensive signings is off season. Are you looking at this team and saying we're gonna rely heavy on this defense to carry us? While there's some new OL, Tannehill getting back into the fold, Derek's situation, lack of wide receivers. Kayla pointed that out earlier, and we'll get to that.
I mean,
but
you
you focus on the defense right now. It's easiest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we are at this moment.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen the rest of the picture develop yet. You know,
keep
I said
saying that,
before,
Red B, yeah.
you know, it's like those old Polaroid Insta cameras, and
Yep.
you're getting the air to the picture and spit out of the camera there, and you're waiting for it to develop. That's where we are. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow night. The NFL draft starts. We have no earthly idea what they're going to do because they're vetting everybody, all the top quarterbacks. Cam Smith, the corner from South Carolina, is the latest one we just saw during the break.
Yeah.
Is reported on a top 30 visit. So, yeah, but that is the part of this that is pretty well established through the 3 levels of the defense. I mean, you've got 2 top safeties. You know, you've made some moves at linebacker, although I think a linebacker pick in this draft may still be in order.
I agree.
But you got Arden Key in free agency. I love that signing. You're getting Harold back off the ACL, even though that won't be a year until training camp. But, and you mentioned the guys up front. I think that is kind of what you're leaning on right now. But we'll see what happens 2 weeks from now and beyond.
Yeah. Okay.
The player from Carson Newman, UT is going into the break from just east of Knoxville up there. Who is the prospect you were interested in?
All right, so we can talk top prospects. We can talk night 2, rounds 2 and 3, day 3. But if we're going to go deep, there's a guy that's gotten on my radar because it's gotten on the Titans' radar, is this young man from Carson Newman named Braxton Westfield. He's a young guy out of South Carolina. He played in the College Gridiron Showcase, which is kind of like a combine and skills stuff for smaller schools. And Braxton Westfield, 6'4", 210 pounds, wings 78 inches, arms 34 inches long, had a 4.45 in the 40, a 37-inch vertical leap, a 10-foot 8-inch broad. So there's the explosion.
Goodness.
And now, keeping in mind, this is smaller school stuff, but apparently he played big fish in small pond because 17.3 yards per catch in his career at Carson Newman. So that's somebody that, I don't know that he's drafted, but he certainly would be what they would call a preferred free agent. And that's why, a lot of those coaches that are been talking to this guy, whoever that is, will work those phones towards the end of the draft going, hey, we'd like you to come to Nashville, if this is the case. And, you work out something with him and do that. But, a big wide receiver, and saw a little stuff of him online. And, I can kind of see what they're looking at.
So when a guy like that, and just kind of the procedural aspect of local visits versus top 30 visits, so what is the distinction the Titans have? Because I've heard one of those visits for Hendon Hooker could have been a local visit for the Titans. What's the procedure for that when it comes to the distinction between where does a guy count as a local visitor at top 30?
Well, I think you could have put him in either, when you're talking about that, but because it is a quarterback.
Right.
And I think you get a little more time with them with a top 30 deal because the way I understand it from Coach Mack, it's about you can have him for about a day and a half. In other words, you can, take him to dinner the night before and meet and whatever, and then the next day you put him through the drills and work them out, check them out, whatever. But, with it being a quarterback in Hendon Hooker in this case, I would think you would want to take a little longer look at that. And I know they had conversations with him at the Senior Bowl because I think he met with almost every team, if not all of them, and may have even done the same thing at the Combine. And now this is a follow-up with, a little more expansive look at and talk to the young man.
You would equate a guy like him from Carson Newman, who has high volume of catching, know he has the measurables, to a guy, Christian Watson, like at Green Bay, or you judge wide receiver as to what their skill set is. And he dominated in his division.
I was going to say, that's a small school guy who, we saw him battle against the Titans on Thursday Night Football last year. Had a nice rookie year. So, listen, if you're good, they're going to find you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's not forget, Terrell Owens was a UT Chattanooga mock. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
And he's got a gold jacket.
That's true.
So
pretty good.
Question, because I'm really curious, just because we've talked so much about Jackson Smith and Jigba, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he went to Ohio State. Okay, they've been putting out players, especially wide receivers, and they've been having success. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it about Quentin Johnston out of TCU that we just haven't heard as much? Is he really just not a guy that you can see going, in that first round? Or I'm confused on why he hasn't gotten a lot of traction.
That's a good question, Kayla. And first of all, I think he still goes in the first round just because he is a large wide receiver with a huge wingspan. So let's see. Quentin Johnston, 6'3", 208, arms 33 5/8, hands 9.5. Wing is almost 82 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Ran a 4.5 40. Had a 40.5-inch vertical leap and 11-foot 2-inch broad jump. So the explosion is there. The question from everything I read and see is about his combat catch ability, because all those measurables, you're like, okay, where is it on film? Because there are instances in his career, especially last year as they went all the way to the national championship game, where he did not get a lot of contested catches. And, we know defenders aren't always as big as a giant wide receiver like that. And for example, I think Max Duggan had 39 touchdowns passing that last season. He only caught 6 of them.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there going, well, what's the – and that doesn't mean that he's not a dog or an alpha or whatever. I just, maybe there's some refinement that has to happen there, and maybe there's some functional strength he needs to add. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a coachable thing. I just think that's the mark that people are looking at him and going, okay, what's the deal? Because Jackson Smith and Jigba, different receiver.
Yeah.
He's around the 6-foot mark, 196. Thing about Jackson Smith and Jigba is one of the better, if not best, route runners in this draft. The thing with him is the health, because of what hampered him. I think he had lower leg injury, hamstring, whatever. Played in 3 games, had 4 catches. That's it. But you go look at his body of work in 2021, 1,606 yards receiving. That's 500 and a half and about 600 and a half more yards receiving than Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who had 1,000-yard receiving seasons in the NFL as rookies last year. Really good receivers. So, it just depends on what you like and what you want. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba has put himself as the number 1 receiver in this draft when you start thinking about, because you talk about his stuff now. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he put on a show at the Combine. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a guy who ran, at his pro day, ran a 4.48 40, 35-inch vertical, 10.5 broad, but he ran a 3-cone drill in 6.57 and a short shuttle in 3.93. that shows that quick, short area, change of direction stuff shows you how he can snap off a route where exactly it needs to be, get open for his quarterback, and go, which is what every evaluator is looking for, and the ideal receiver is someone who can create separation, run a crisp, good route, quick change of direction, and hit it.
Yep.
Rhett, when looking at some of these wide receivers in round 2, my eyes go first to the bigger guys, as the Titans have obviously had a type at that position under John Robinson and under Mike Vrabel. Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State is one of those, a guy who is a redshirt senior, a Bolitnikoff Award finalist in 2022, 3-time All-American, who finished last year with 107 catches for just over 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's 6'3", 203, projected as a day 2 or a round 2 guy even. What do you see when you look at his pro day and look at his combine profile?
Well, first of all, there's some explosion there as well. 4.53 in the 40 at 6'2", 203, as you mentioned, 36-inch vertical leap, nearly a 10-foot broad, but did a 3-cone drill in 6.91 seconds.
There you go.
You know, you're looking for that sub-7-second number there. He's a guy, we all saw him at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. He's somebody I was watching from the very first practice. And clearly with the numbers you mentioned, he has experience at the college level. But yeah, there are some bigger receivers in this that are going to be nice day 2 and even day 3 selections because another guy we saw that week was Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss, who's a big receiver like that. You're starting to see reports that the evaluators aren't crazy about the wide receiving class, that, there's a couple of guys at the top and then the rest is the rest. But I still think there's value from, the early 40 picks all the way to 100, maybe even beyond that, because skill positions are so crazy these days because of kids playing 7-on-7 all the time.
Right. Rhett, I feel like we're not talking enough, not necessarily us, but the draft world of all the Tennessee prospects. Cedric Tillman, to me, still is not getting enough conversation because before his injury last season, I think that guy was on his way. It's easy to forget about that Pittsburgh game. I think he was on his way to putting up similar numbers to what Jalen Hyatt did. Probably more yards. I don't know if he's ever going to really match the touchdown output that Jalen Hyatt had for Tennessee last season, but I think of maybe all the Tennessee players that could be available to the Titans, Cedric Tillman might still be the best overall fit in terms of what this team has wanted at that position in the past.
Cedric Tillman, I would be shocked if he wasn't drafted in night 2. And I don't think there's any way he makes it past that. And I could certainly see him in the second round. 6'3", 213, hands 10 inches. He's got the hamburger helper mitts to catch a football from his quarterback. A wing at almost 80 inches, 4.54 in the 40, 37-inch vertical leap, 10.8 broad. I mean, we know what he can do when he's healthy, and that's the thing that I got from him at the Combine. He was just smiling from ear to ear because he said, I'm finally healthy. I'm good. I'm ready to go, and I'm sure he went through the medical rounds there and also on any of his visits because they want to check him out. But, I think the guy's going to make a very nice pro. Pick your poison on what you want, whether you like him or Jalen Hyatt. I mean, either one's a good option. Now, they're two different receivers.
Right.
Jalen's a little slider guy in terms of, he's added some bulk and things. But Cedric Tillman, that's a grown man right there.
Yep.
It is. And Will's point, as far as looking at the bigger wide receivers, like what will the Titans continue that pace of going for the big guy that has good speed and range when it comes to throwing into his area? And the reason I say that is it's okay sometimes to have a type, but do you need to get to the shifty, quick, fast guy when it comes down to this offense?
Well, I think you do if you want it to flourish. And I think that's what they've tried to do over the years, and certainly last year in the draft with Kyle Phillips from UCLA. And, bless his heart, he just had so many things go on injury-wise between the shoulder and a couple other things that he just wasn't able to stay on the football field. Now, there are options this year with that, whether you want Trey Palmer from Nebraska, who's a speed demon.
Yep.
There are guys who are value picks like that who are also returners.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
just like they tried to do with Kyle Phillips.
Yeah, I'm looking at this guy now. A.T. Perry, Wake Forest, 6'4", 198, big guy, but not thick guy. You know what I'm saying? Last 2 years, I think 984 yards last year. Over 1,000 yards receiving last year at Wake Forest and 984 this year, coming out as a senior. So he has maturity about him. That type of guy, 4'4", 740. For his size, you win there.
Nearly 82-inch wing, 6'3.5", 198. So, yeah.
You know,
and an 11-1 broad and a 35-inch vert. So.
And that's what I'm saying as far as like Traylon's big. This is a big guy. Is it okay to go after these guys still in this offense?
Well, that's what you've got other than Kyle Phillips. Because, I mean, Nick Westbrook-Akine is no small guy.
No.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so and Racy McMath.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a big dude.
that's a guy I'd like to see take a move forward again. I like Racy. I think he's a nice player.
Let's quickly go to Joey in Cross Plains, who has a question for Rhett on the way out here. What's going on, Joey?
What's up, Joe?
What's up, Gordy B, Ramon, Taylor, Will?
What's up, man?
Oh, yeah. Love it.
So Rhett, I know y'all talking about wide receivers, but I've been the linebacker out of Vanderbilt, Orgy, and how he's moving up the board. And, you know, I really don't know a lot about him. I hadn't really dug that deep. But can you just, like, give me some information about him, and would he make a good fit for the Titans if he's there in the later rounds? Y'all have a great and blessed day.
All right, Joey.
Thanks, Joey.
Appreciate the call.
Well, Anthony, I think that's somebody that they definitely have on their radar.
Yeah, and they haven't, really, not many people are talking about him, but he has been a guy that you got to look out for.
Yeah, and he's had some flashes in that defense where he's been a bright spot for them. I'm not sure as to whether they had him on their local pro day last week, but it would make sense if they did. 6'1", 230, hands 10 1/4, arms 32. At the combine, he ran a 4.5 340. His first 10 yards 1.54. Had a 38.5-inch vertical leap as a linebacker now.
Not bad.
3 cone in 7 and a short shuttle in 4.43. And you can see the stuff on film. Now he can actually help you in a spot. He won't be. I don't necessarily think he's a top rounds pick, but he's a value pick at some point. And I'm starting to see his name mentioned more and more. Joey, I don't have a ton for you there, but I know exactly who you're talking about. And like I said, there were moments in Vanderbilt's season where he showed up for sure.
Great stuff as always from Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio. And we've really, I think, just got one position left to preview next week. Do some offensive line.
Oh, baby. Saving the best for last.
Oh, I saw the big bear to my right over here jump up and wait. Do what?
He was starting to squeak
someone
like
say
the Smokey
offensive
toy.
line?
Offensive line?
Did someone say my love language?
You're speaking to me, Rhett.
Always, Rhett. Thank you.
Thanks, Rhett.
Thank you all.
Coming up, some breaking news from Adam Schefter on one player who will not be reporting to camp until he gets a new contract. Coming up on Ramon, Kalen, Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, they are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all your HVAC needs. Kayla, you said it earlier this morning. Look, go get it checked out. Best thing about Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, they are a proud Rude Pro partner and Mitsubishi Diamond contractor, Kayla.
And the Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is family owned and operated. We love that. Years of experience. The family business, they're really known for their customer service. Why? Well, first of all, they're not going anywhere, so they're reliable. They can't really set on a company reputation. It's their own reputation. They're putting it out on the line every single day. The Spring Hill Heating and Cooling family, they're always there to respond promptly to your issues. They get the problems resolved, and they do it accurately, Ramon.
They do, Kayla. You warned them earlier and I'm telling them now.
Yep.
Spring is here. And if you haven't booked your spring tune-up for your AC unit, it's the time to do it now. Through the month of April, get your AC tune-up for just $79 and get the fall tune-up for free. Don't let us warn you again because Kayla will find you. I promise you. Okay? So reach out to the folks that we know and trust before your kids are mad, the dog is mad at you, your spouse is mad at you because it's hot in the house, okay? Visit springhillac.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon and Kayla sent you.
One final segment of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Appreciate Rhett Bryan hanging out with us this morning.
Gosh.
Lots of good stuff today with Grant Ramey, with Tyler Dunne. Coming up tomorrow, Voice of the Vols, Bob Kessling will join us. More orange and white game preview. And, of course, the most interesting man in football, Coach Dave McGinnis.
Wow. I like talking to Kessling, man. Kessling comes on here and just lets it just roll on the show at times.
He's an offensive lineman, and he called your games.
That's why you like him. You didn't have to say all that other crud. All you had to say was he's an offensive lineman. And then I would have understood.
No.
Oh, yeah. He's an Ohio State guy, too.
Yeah.
His family.
That's very interesting right there. But no, I love seeing people come on here. You see them be very professional.
That's right.
But show their personality.
They let it out a little.
I prefer when they're not professional. But
thank you. That's why I was shooting.
But we're so professional on this show. We are just always straight and narrow here.
That's right. The Buck Rising Show is coming up next.
Happy 40th, Buck.
That's right. Happy 40th birthday to Buck Rising. Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel at 10:20 for him. And you can hear live coverage of Jeffery Simmons' press conference at noon.
Big Jeff.
Big Jeff. Adam Schefter reporting 13 minutes ago that Giants running back Saquon Barkley, or as Ramon would call him, Saquon Barkley, does not plan to sign his franchise tender before the team's upcoming offseason program begins Monday, making him ineligible to participate. This was first reported by Kim Jones, who is a Giants beat writer for Newsday.
Whoa.
I know. It just ruffles the feathers when it comes down to it. That's basically what he's doing. I mean, he probably wouldn't show up for most of the offseason anyway. This just brings news to the Giants and a very news, what do you want to call it, monster of New York media.
Oh, yeah. Add to it, right?
Yeah, that's just adding to it. Saquon don't have to show up to camp anyway, so he ain't really missing out on it. He has no bonus structure, no nothing. I appreciate his stance, but at that position, I'd always say oatmeal is better than no meal. Stand for what you believe in, but go that route.
We have some Titans breaking news.
Oh, boy. Let's go.
Courtesy of Mike Garafolo of NFL Media.
Okay.
Veteran wide receiver Chris Moore is visiting the Titans today.
Okay.
Had career highs of 48 catches for 548 yards last season for the, of course, fill in the blank, team that every Titans player comes from. Houston, Texas.
Yep, do it.
Now exploring another opportunity in the AFC South. So Chris Moore visiting the Titans, 48 catches for 548 last season. He has played 6 seasons for the Ravens and the Texans. Chris Moore, who in 2021 with Houston, played 12 games, had 227 yards. His previous career high before last season was just 248 yards on 18 catches in 2017 for the Baltimore Ravens. So that's depth.
I'd like to link him to the Texans, but Vrabel's been so far removed from it that I think
he didn't overlap with
that's what I'm saying.
Vrabel at all in Houston.
I don't even
I know, but
this is more of just a
it's funny that
coincidence.
Yeah. Call him Houston North at this point. Man.
Or West.
Or West.
I don't think the Titans are really north of Houston very much.
Northeast.
Northeast. You said West.
East. I thought you said West. Again, SpongeBob.
Oh,
you didn't get it. Played college football at Cincinnati. Was drafted in the 4th round by the Baltimore Ravens in 2016. Would essentially come in and be another NWI kind of character. Anyway.
Sorry.
We got to finish off with midweek motivation. Inky Johnson and the Buck Rising Show is coming up next.
Happy
we'll
birthday,
talk to
Buck.
you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
He gonna hate us.
But oftentimes, whether it be in business or whether it be in life, we treat things like it's transaction and we waste the experience if the experience doesn't give us what we want from it. Right? We waste the experience if it doesn't give us what we want from it. Some of the greatest lessons in life comes from moments of rejection, comes from moments of opposition, comes from moments of things not going the way that we want it to go. Can you do something for me? At the first sign of opposition, please don't stop. Can you do something for me? At the first sign of adversity, please don't stop. Right? At the first sign of something changing and not going the way you want it to go, please don't stop. Please don't throw in the towel. Please don't wave the white flag and say, I yield, I yield.